My this is my private like headquarters, man.
in the tennis shoe museum.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna start selling these once Rich kicks the bucket.
Hey, when I got fired from CrossFit, I started selling all my motorcycles and bikes and just all the gifts I ever got from CrossFit to pay my mortgage.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I had probably 15 motorcycles.
15 motorcycles?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Are you
I
serious?
couldn't even afford all the registration on them.
Did they just give you one every time that you shot a film?
No, I was just buddies with Greg, and anytime I was with Greg and he would buy a motorcycle, he'd be like, "Pick one out too, Sevy."
Holy holy cow.
Oh,
What
it
a
was a good life. Hey, I
what a
deserved it. I worked
time.
hard. The only guy who worked harder in CrossFit than me was Rich Froning.
What a time to be alive, man. Just hang
Uh,
out and get a motorcycle.
no, I didn't just hang out.
I know, I
You
know
are
you
you
didn't just hang
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
was fluffing a lot of cock. No, I was making a lot of high quality films.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's that was the lingo back then.
Hey, I'm either I don't normally go back and watch my podcast, never. And last night I was like, why am I having Darren on again? And so I went back and I
Thanks
watched.
to make me feel good, man.
I'm either the greatest podcast. At first I'm like, holy shit, Darren Hunsucker is the greatest guest ever. I watched the 2 podcasts that we did together. Or then by the time I went to sleep, I'm like, it's first I gave you the credit. And then by the time I went to sleep, I was like, I'm the greatest podcast host ever. So I kind of split. I wasn't sure, but I went to bed. Either you're the greatest guest ever or I'm the greatest host ever.
I feel like these are how most of your intros start off. So I don't know if I'm supposed to just nod my head and say thank you or
I'm giving myself and you a hand job at the same time.
thank you.
Has anyone ever said you look like Justin Gaethje?
No, who's that?
Oh, that bums me out. You don't watch any TV. You seem like the kind of guy who doesn't watch any TV.
No, I actually, sorry, I shouldn't say no. I do watch TV just at nighttime. That's I'm a night owl. So nighttime when I get to sit down, I'll kick back in a recliner and I'll watch anything. Who is he? What's he on? Okay,
He's a UFC fighter. Savage.
new age though. I mean, newer.
Last probably 5 or 10 last 5 years he's really made a name for himself. But he's always in the top 5. He's always fighting for a belt. But there was this one picture I saw of you. I can't believe how yoked you are right now. Let me see if I can find that.
Lighting. That's just proper lighting. And I finally learned how to use the iMovie editor.
And this isn't the footage actually that makes you look yoked. I was thinking this was going to be the deadlift video, but this clip right here, I mean, you look just like Justin Gaethje from that profile.
Man, look at on the other side things. Oh my gosh, my mobility has gone to shit. Oh, makes me sick.
Why? What don't you like? What don't you like? What don't you like?
I got a freaking bird cage back. Look at those wrists. Look at those elbows. I mean, the reason why you can't really tell too much there is because the camera's at an angle. But if that was a front view, that a right arm, oh, that lat and that shoulder just sits nice and low.
Hey, I'm doing that now these days too. I'm not holding the bar in the front rack anymore.
It hurts, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I let it just kind of float way out there on my fingertips.
I mean, we joke about it all the time, and you always talk about good old days stuff and things that used to get away with. And I mean, yeah, you be able to dive into a workout with minimal warm up. You may row or something, or hit a few reps on an empty barbell. Now, for the past 5 years, prior religiously, I bike for probably 3 to 5 minutes before I even start moving, and then I hip halo for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I've been doing a lot of banded 7 works.
What's hip halo, Darren?
So, I mean, it's just one of those hip, or it's just a hip circle. So, like a band. I mean, you can put around your knees and stuff. So
I'm hula hooping. Don't get turned on like this.
Oh, wow. Damn. No wonder why Greg would buy you motorcycles.
Is that what it is? Is that what a hip halo is?
No.
Well, I did that for nothing.
Exactly. That was good though. That was talented.
Thank you.
But okay, Look it up. I mean, like there's a ton of stuff that like you can do with it, but like we kind of had a routine that like, we built years ago with some hip activation stuff. And I mean, I love doing it every time. It basically gets my hips and knees nice and greased up before I just drop under something. And then after that, I've been doing a lot of like Bandit 7 stuff. Yeah, there you go. Hip Halo is actually the company's name. So like that band that he's wearing. Oh man, he's got a nice room.
I don't like the way his knees are coming in like that. He looks like one of those knee knocker kids that I just
The worst kind of the worst kind of people. But see, he's teaching a
look
little
at
hip
I don't judge people with Down syndrome or big noses or fat people or like saggy tits. I like all that shit, but knee knockers, I never thought I was a judgmental person. I see that I'm like, ooh,
You know
it's
what was
it's my
funny?
weakness. I start to sin.
So that was something that I started paying more attention to was like knees caving in, collapsed hips, stuff like that. Because my whole life growing up, I was told that I had flat feet, which in a sense, I'm like, I did. But then when I started getting into the realm of fitness and actually learning things and talking to the right people, a guy's, kind of looking at me move and he goes, "Hey, have you ever like checked your hips?" And to where I would have like my hips collapse in, it would internally rotate my knees, which would take my ankles and then turn them in, which would cause me to be like flat footed because I had no activation. I'm like in my ass. I mean, I was
Wait, what do you mean? Your hip? What did you say? Your hip would collapse in? What does that mean? Rotate
so,
forward?
so
Like
I,
your
I
butt
so
would stick out like you wanted it?
so I would basically have like this cheerleader butt look, like where I would have
Yeah.
like no like core, so like my butt would sag back, which I didn't even have a butt, so it's like I was just trying to look cool, I guess. I don't know.
It's like too
And
much lumbar curve, you're saying? Like I've seen people
exactly,
stand
too
like
much.
that.
I mean, like
Okay.
too much lumbar curve, too trying to be that guy with a proud chest, like a big chest, like sticking out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, I mean, everything related to just bad posture and also bad mechanics because no one at a young age teaches you how to walk properly. I mean, that's just something you don't just walk into school and they're like, "Hey, we're going to work from walking from here to, point A to B and let's see how everybody's doing." That's something that naturally just starts occurring. And like for me, I just developed a bad habit. I developed a bad habit of when I would walk, my hips would be turned in instead of activated. So opened up, they would be turned in like this, which trying to do this like without like being weird here, but would cause like my knees to turn in and would put the pressure on my ankles to be rolled in. So pretty much everything was turned in. Like there was no like activation. And yeah, so then once I started understanding that and then kind of working backwards, working on walking, I would look like an idiot because I'd be staring like at my knees and feet like as I walked, but I started to try and focus more on that. And I started to develop a more natural arch. I mean, it's not perfect. There's still days like where you'll forget about it or not think about it and catch yourself. But yeah,
But shouldn't redneck kids like you who grew up barefoot have high arches? Like when I went I didn't wear shoes for 2 years and I was a size 7 shoe. And then I started wearing shoes just a little bit and I became a size 8. I mean, I still have a really high arch, but isn't just walking around barefoot like you and the boys did? Um,
I mean, you would think so too, but then at the other side of things, think about like all the ground and pounding that you did as a younger kid. You're jumping on trees, you're wrestling, you're doing all this stuff, you're doing all this shit like every day that just beats the hell out of your body that's still trying to form. That's still trying to get itself like lined up. And I think, like I said, I just got in a bad like position and I just kept doing it over and over and my body naturally kind of formed to it. Much like, if you're not taught how to throw a baseball properly, you're going to be all elbow, sidearm snapping and there's no hip, there's no lower body dominant movement there. It's all upper body throwing. So, I mean, now, I mean, for you especially, looking at the way that your kids are moving and going around doing all this stuff, it's like things that I'm thinking about as a father as well. Okay, I'm trying to see these things early and not be that person that's like over top of my kids, be like, "Hey, you got to move like this. This is how you're supposed to do." But just little things, like little cleanup work to try and get them on a better path.
hey, when I do stuff like that with my kids, like if we're playing catch or something, I almost never, unless I think it's going to cause injury,
Yeah.
I almost
100%.
never correct them, but I just want someone, I'm so stoked when someone else corrects them.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll just go
yeah,
out there and I'll play catch with them, and I'll be like, and I'll see that they're like just facing me head on, and I won't tell them to turn to the side, but I'll keep playing catch with them until I see them naturally turn. And I'll be like, "Oh, that's awesome how you," and then I compliment them, because if I tell them to do it, they're like, it just takes a little bit of fun out of it. You only get so many of those.
100%. And oh my gosh. And it's like, that's the part as a kid, as a teen, as an adult, it's like, that's the learning experience that a lot of people, I think, are missing like this day, is that people try and make those permanent, or at least try and like correct the kid before the kid even realizes like what they're doing wrong. Like, they're not allowing them to make that mistake
Yeah.
and actually understand and being able to see what the difference really is. I mean, like the same exact thing. I'm like, I'm like, you said, it's like, I will make those corrections if I see something, like you said, that is either putting them in danger, or they have been doing it for a very, very like long time.
Right.
Like, hey, okay, start to look at doing like this, like shooting a basketball. Hey, the first couple of years, they're shooting two hands, pushing like this, Now, as they're getting stronger, getting a little older, hey, let's start trying to bring it in a little bit, bring the elbow underneath, and just focus on that a little bit.
Let me ask you a sports question. One man to another.
Thank you.
I never played baseball. I don't watch baseball. The only baseball games I've been to are A's games, when I'd go to the bleachers and to get drunk and eat peanuts and watch Mexicans fight. And
Love it.
but I do a lot of bat swinging with my kids, a lot. Like, I have this machine that shoots out these little tiny wiffle balls, and you can get them from 25 to 55 miles an hour, and I have them swing, and I have them bat both ways. And the reason why is I'm just trying to trick them into high eye-hand coordination and then rotation.
Yeah.
But and I've never looked it up. I can't believe I've never looked it up. But we get into this. If you're swinging like this, does your right hand go on top?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Because we have this huge debate. Sometimes I see them like this. I'm like, yo, that can't be right.
Now, hey, anything baseball, you need to talk to Rich about. But yes, I mean, that is correct.
And so when I have them switch, then the left hand goes on top when they bat left-handed. Okay. Good. All right. Acting like I know about sports, and I'm always like,
That's
hey, I think your hands are wrong.
You get it. They're like, wow, genius.
Hey, do you remember that thing OPT used to do where he put his hands out by his side like this?
Good old James Fitzgerald, man.
Remember that thing?
Yeah. Wow. Man,
so I do that one with my kids, and that was one of those ones that's an example. When you turn this way, when you turn to the left, let your right foot come up, right? And pivot. So that was one of those things where I saw my boys doing it, and they weren't letting their foot up. And I'm like, I take a deep breath, and I'm like, hey, if it feels better, I don't tell them to lift their foot up, but I'm thinking, fuck, that's a lot of torque on the knee, right? When they do that, I'm like, hey, if it feels better, just let that foot pivot like you're punching.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, it's up to you. But then they let it up, and then it's there. And then they're like, oh yeah, that feels better. And I let them like, not like, hey, you're doing it wrong. Let that foot up. I'm like that. Let the coach say it to him like that.
Yeah. And I mean, that goes anything with being a dad, or parent, with being, a spouse or something like that. It always is going to sound better coming from like somewhere. Yeah. Like somebody else, for those like permanent, like corrections. Like, we can make those little tweaks, but as soon as you start to amplify it to the frustration stage or the yelling stage, it's like, you don't get anything accomplished. And then after that, that's where they start losing interest. I mean, we were always, or something coaching that I always like picked up on and then try to implement. It's like, feel good, look good. If it feels good and it looks good, use it. Use it until it's not working. And then after that, you start to dial in on like, the other things, especially like with kids. I'm like, just like you said, if it feels good on you, it's not putting any harm, use it then. Go. Because like there's always there. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I mean, in everything we do, there's always those outliers. There's always those ones that that like rewrite the book or go against everything mechanically or, you know, athletically that like we say is the way to do it, but they have done it a different way and it gets the same result or better. You know, whether somebody shoots a ball different or somebody swings a bat different, you know, mechanically, the way that they're running, you know, is not on par with, you know, what, you know, like what the best should be, but yet they're still really good at what they do. It's like some just have God-given talent.
I see it in the fight game all the time, right? So the conventional wisdom is to fight like this. There'll be one guy that fights like this, and they'll be like, "Man, that's horrible." But then no one sees his punches coming, and they talk about that. Well, the fucked up part is that the guy he's fighting against can't see where the punches are coming from because he doesn't have his hands up here.
Exactly. And you know, that's also the other side thing. It's like if you train against this like your whole life, but then all of a sudden somebody comes at you like this, it's like even that little bit throws you off your game because you're like, oh shit, I've been throwing punches at a guy with hands in his face. Now it's like I got to watch these hands low to know like where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You know, it's just little things like that. That's what I always loved about because wrestling was our sport growing up. And there was always a different way. There was always something different that like you could do a lot of, or like nowadays you see a lot of like what they call like funk wrestling, where like people get in these massive scrambles now and like they put their body in these positions that 10, 15 years ago people didn't even think was deemed possible. You know, they're bending their knees in certain ways. It's crazy. And then much like fast forward to fighting now, again, you know, there's all these different types of like mechanics like happening.
When did you first wrestle, Darren? When was the first time you wrestled?
So I started.
You're one of five. You're one of five brothers, right?
Yep. 6. One of 6. Sorry. 1 of 5. Yes, 6 total.
Okay.
Okay. But yes. I started. I guess
your mom had 6 boys.
Yeah. Yep. She was trying, I guess, for a girl, but it never happened.
It's crazy. I was going through your Instagram yesterday, and your mom. I saw a picture of your mom, and I'm like, and I stopped to read it, and I just assumed it was Rich's mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, they're like identical. Okay, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say Rich's mom, my mom, that whole side, they're all badasses. She would slap me for saying it, but I mean they are tough, just old school farmers that will just work. They will outwork anybody. Like Rich's
well, you better be a tough lady if you have 6 boys. You better be a tough lady because we got 3 boys and it's crazy.
It is, and especially you think about it, like we joke about it too, like all the time. It's like you think about back then, the way that our parents had to keep us distracted. I mean, like compared to now. I mean, now, you know, you try so hard, but it's like you can throw a TV on, you can throw, you know, you can put a phone in their face or like, you know, there's just so much out there. It's like back then, no, it was the hand that always got you like distracted. It was the wooden spoon that like kept you, you know, in line. It was the, you know, the discipline of it. But yeah, so
I got in so much trouble yesterday. We'll get to your rest of it. I got in so much trouble yesterday. My son was in the entryway, my 8-year-old, and he goes, they call me Heidi. That means father in Armenian. He goes, "What's up, Heidi?" And he shoves me with 2 hands, and I tap, and he's 8, and I tapped him back in the chest with 1 hand, and he fell down onto a stack of skateboards, and my wife just kind of caught like the tail end of it. You know what I mean?
Of course, she just saw the end where you just.
She looked. I thought she was gonna hit me. I'm like, "Hey, dude, go tell your mom." I go. I'm not sure how hard I push you. Tell her the truth. How honestly what happened before I fucking get kicked out of the fucking house. He runs in there. He's like, "You didn't push me hard." Like, holy shit! I thought I was dead.
You know, and like
this fucking women nurturing shit, protecting the boys. Holy shit! I thought I was toast. I got to sleep in the bed though.
Oh, bless there. But yeah, it really is a different realm of stuff, and like there's a difference between beating and then discipline. You know,
I wasn't doing either. I was just playing. But he fucking fell on a stack of skateboards, and I was like, and I looked up, and his mom was there. I was like, oh, I'm fucked.
We just call that tough love, man. I mean, the kids need it, and like that's the thing too. Working like with ours on, hey, when something happens, you know, I mean, I understand like injuries happen, things like that. You fall, scrapes, but it's like, all right, tears are happening, but the crying, it's like the crying, like the screaming, that's where you have to learn how to like pain management, like what is actually hurt, and going through like that. I mean, like that whole phase, I don't know what the right or wrong way is. It's like something like you develop like over time. Cause like I said, for us, we had, a big family, you're constantly fighting. So it's like you start to develop a pain tolerance of just anything and everything. So a lot of it's just like exposure. Like I've been trying to wrestle like my kids like every night, or like we go downstairs and like we
I
have a bunch
wrestle
of
every day with the boys. Yeah, every
yeah,
day I wrestle with the boys, and
I
every day
love that.
someone cries or something happens. It
And they do
drives my wife
skateboarding
crazy.
too, right? I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. We haven't skate. One of my boys broke his big toe, so we've only been
holy,
skateboarding like once a
oh,
week. Yeah, tore
oh,
the ligament off the outside of his toe. It was fucked up.
no
Yeah,
way.
6 months of no activity
6 months for a kid. Oh
for a
man,
really active 10-year-old.
gosh,
How
that
many broken bones did your family have with 6 boys? Was there always someone injured?
we had we had, traditional bumps, scrapes, bruises, I mean, stitches, stuff like that. My older brother broke his foot later on. I broke my foot later on. Torn knees, just sports in general. I mean, I mean, gosh, maybe in my family, I don't think every brother broke a bone, but we were probably man,
I haven't had 3 healthy boys in over a year. Like
wow.
yeah, like, where, like,
Yeah,
they can
but
all go hard at the same
y-
time, you know what I mean? I mean, they
I was
still
gonna
fight and
say
do their stuff, but they're always like, "My wrist hurts," or "My ankle hurts," or something's always up.
yours are nonstop though. I mean, you
Yeah.
you have them in a good amount of stuff, like, right? Because you said what, it was tennis, and then you said like skateboarding. I mean, obviously gymnastics, right? Don't
Yeah,
they do all that?
yeah,
Oh,
fighting, they fight it almost every d Friday's their only day. Well, today's supposed to be their day off, but the fight coach is coming over this morning because they got a tournament tomorrow.
jeez. So wait, with the tournament tomorrow, is this just like drills? Are you doing,
Yeah, just drills. I hope so.
cleanup stuff?
I'll see it, but hopefully they'll just be drilling. Yeah, just positional shit.
Jiu-jitsu? Are they all in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Man, dude.
It's so fun, dude. I can't tell you.
Everybody's doing jujitsu now. Like everywhere I look, older, younger, it's like no one did that. I mean, that was like foreign, I mean, that was something like you were either born into it or you had to go to the major city and like some like underground club to do stuff like that. And now like they're popping up everywhere.
I have to say, people, if you're gonna do jujitsu as a martial art, or you're gonna do any martial art, find a good place, or else you will go there and you will waste 3 years of your time and you won't be able to beat anyone up. Make sure you find a fucking good place.
Did this happen to you or is this
No, we went to a good place right away, but I should have left, like, after, like, 2 years, I should have left. I stayed, like, a year too long, but I hear people who will be like, "Hey, I did taekwondo and I'm a black belt," and I'm thinking to myself, "My kid would like," and it's like some fucking 12-year-old kid, and I'm like, "Oh my god, my kid would fuck your
get
kid up."
get him, son, with his broken toe?
Yeah, it's like, "Hey, like, you just went through," like, you know what I mean? For every 30 classes, you went up a stripe, and then for every 100 classes, you got a belt. It's not like that in a good gym. In a good gym, you gotta go somewhere and beat someone up, and then it's like, "Alright, you can go to the next level."
Man, see, and again, that was something I still haven't like dipped my toes in. Like, I actually want to start trying it. One, because everybody else is doing it, and two, like I said, I grew up wrestling, so I was like, okay. But
You would
I've
love it
also
then. You would love it.
well, and that's the thing. But I also heard it's really hard for somebody coming from that kind of background because it's a different style. Like, like we're taught you never surrender your back because that's how a match is won and lost and stuff. And now in jiu-jitsu, that's where a lot of fighting, or I mean like combat's done, is I mean like from the back.
Oh, you mean if you're on your back. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yep.
There's that guy, one of the best doing it right now is a guy named, he's been on the podcast a few times. They call him the Black Belt Slayer. What's his name? Rodriguez?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
J-Rod and his brother, J-Rod's the younger brother. Anyway, they come from a wrestling background.
That's cool. That
Yeah,
is cool.
and they just throw dudes around.
Yeah,
Corbin
well,
Bowman.
oh, Corbin, nice.
Darren is the real goat. Hey, Corbin, it's funny, when I went back and watched that show, I saw you were in the chat. I wonder if you listen to the show regularly, or you're just one of the ones that comes when Darren's here. Hey, how did you get into?
You
So
better be.
how did you get into wrestling?
So I got into it. My older brother started. He got into it from after, gosh, well, no, he actually started his freshman year of high school, and he got really good, like really fast. Almost qualified for states. Or sorry, he started his 8th grade year. But anywho, then he almost qualified for states his freshman year, and then so on and so forth. Ended up taking 5th his senior year, but he got really good at it. So like once we saw him doing it, naturally all these boys, you know, he would come home and we'd start wrestling. My dad bought a mat, and yeah, the rest is history. We all started, each one starting younger, like than the one like in front of them.
How
But
old were
yeah,
you when you started?
I was probably fourth or 5th grade. So
Wow.
still, so yeah, so now in like, you know, today's time frame, that's late. I mean, just like all sports, like if you want to be super dominant in it, you know, you start almost at like that 3 to 4 year range. But yeah, started in it. I was very fortunate to have very good coaches, and also, I mean, like I said, my older brothers were really good as well. And then a lot of my cousins did it too within the surrounding cities. So yeah, we were always competitive against one another, which was cool.
Oh, and did you eventually make the varsity team? Did you do it all years in
Yeah,
high
yeah, yeah,
school?
yeah. So I started all of 4 years. It's funny, well, not funny at the time,
Lightest
but
you wrestled?
what?
What's the lightest you wrestled?
I started my freshman year, I was 112 to 119. And then
Holy shit.
yeah, and then from there, you know, you go up. I was think like 125 to 130. These are the older ones. They changed the weight classes now. Then I was 135 to 145 my senior year. So I kind of fluctuated wherever that they would. I was one of those guys that they would use me depending on who we matched up against. So if they wanted me to go against somebody tougher, I'd bump up a weight class or two throughout the week. If they wanted me to wrestle the tougher guy, you know, that was lower, you cut the weight. So
And how did you do? Did you ever make it to the state meet?
so no, I actually didn't. And with my career, it was one of those up and down ones. So freshman year, I was close. And then sophomore year, I got injured. My junior year, that's when my oldest brother Donnie had passed, and he passed away during that time frame. So I stopped then. And then senior year, I broke my foot. So I broke my foot towards the end of it. I tried to come back. I did the whole thing, you know, just kind of cut my cast off early, just trying to make it back. And I wrestled 2 more matches, and I just had nothing left in it. I mean, I was at one, or I was taking a lot of pain medicine, just trying to stand on one foot or stand on both feet.
Yeah, it's funny. Yesterday, my oldest son, his ankle's messed up. He just learned how to do a backflip, so he's been doing just hundreds of backflips everywhere he goes. He's doing backflips, and he collided into another kid on a trampoline at Greg's house. And then so yesterday, I was taking the kids to gymnastics, and he's like, "I'm good to go." I'm like, "Hey, dude, you were just hurt 2 days ago." He's like, "Nope, good to go." I'm like, "All right." So we take him to
Awesome.
gymnastics, and then an hour into the class, I look up and he's sitting down with a bag of ice, and I walk over there and I go, "What happened?" He goes, "I lied to you." I'm
Dude,
like I'm like,
dude,
"All
that,
right." I'm like, "Hey, dude, it's so important for me, for you and for me that we get you healthy." I'm
yeah.
like, "Thanks for telling me that you lied." He goes, "I just wanted to do it so bad." I'm like, "I
Oh,
understand."
dude, that's awesome though. Like I mean, as a father, yes, I mean, that's like tough to hear, but as a competitor and
Yeah.
like hearing it as well, you're like, that's badass. Like, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
like that
like,
a
"Fuck it,
kid,
I'm going in. Put me
yeah,
in, coach."
exactly. That a kid at that young age is like, you know, I don't care. I want to hurt, you know, or you know, I want to do it. I absolutely love that.
He wants to fight in the tournament this Saturday, but he's had 6 weeks off or 6 months off from any real serious training, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm not putting you in," and he starts crying. But I just can't. I don't wanna put him in and throw him to the wolves, you know what I mean? 6 months off from jiu-jitsu is a long time, and, that could be bad. Heidi says, "Not always true, Sevi." Yeah, that's exactly my point. It's not always true about, having to beat someone. Jonathan, let me see. Heidi, has it changed? When I was in BJJ, you have to show a certain amount of moves to belt. Yeah, there are studios like that. Those are the ones that I would say do not go to.
Yeah, what's the so explain to me how do you level up? I mean, how do you get to that next belt? Is it time?
There's
Is it
some
like
places that
criteria?
it's time, but you don't
Okay.
wanna go to those places. You wanna go to the place where they just keep you at the same belt until you're beating people up. And then when you beat up enough people, then you go up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, so we just had a interdisciplinary, like, all the jiu-jitsu studios came from all over the area,
Mhm.
and, there were belts, lots of belts higher than my boys, and my boys just mopped everyone up in all the weight classes, all the belts. And it's just like, hey, dude, you're promoting your kids way, way too fast.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's
Good
awesome.
morning, fitness coach. Good morning, fitness coach in history.
Oh my gosh. People have to really realize that I'm only fit at what I'm good at.
Sevi,
That's
you are
it.
so incredibly wrong. Oh, okay. All right.
Wow. Jeez, oh Pete.
I would never belt. Yeah, that's okay. Just a big dose of Sevon. You have no clue what you're talking about. All right,
Jeez, oh Pete, man.
good. Yeah.
Hey, did you say what belt are you?
I don't do it.
Oh, you don't do it.
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Oh, okay.
I sit there on the little red couch for 1 hour 6 days a week, and then I sit on the jiu-jitsu mats at home for 1 hour a day, and then 6 days a week, and then I watch privates probably 10 hours a week. I'm the greatest expert at jiu-jitsu who's never done it. But I do wrestle with the kids every single day. I let them put me in all I tell
That's
them,
cool.
like, I say, "Hey, put me in all the worst positions." Like yesterday, I told my kid he couldn't triangle me, and he just tried and tried
He
and
just
tried.
tried he just tried.
Yeah.
He just tried for it.
Yeah. Like, you don't wanna be everyone knows the black belt in the gym who can't fight, and you do not wanna be that guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You do
Yeah.
not want because everyone's talking about you.
It's kind of funny, similar in wrestling. Like there's always going to be like those outlier kind of weight classes that are just whether it's in your area or it's in the state. There's just some years that those weight classes just don't have that dominant figure or at least that consistent number of athletes in it that are good. So like for instance, wrestling, there's weight classes and stuff. You go out there, you wrestle your guy, the next one up. Well, sometimes again, you just come up to this team that only has like 3 to 5 people. So there's 6 weight classes or something like that that don't have anybody. So you go out there, get your hand raised. By you getting your hand raised, that still puts a W in your score column. So you actually still get to claim that as a win. So there's some years that you may be 40-5, but 20 of your wins are voids of you going out there. And it's like, that was always kind of the part of it. It's like, you didn't want to be that guy because you're the guy who doesn't really have no experience. Your record is not really kind of like what you say it is.
Hey,
So
and that puts a target on your back.
it does. It does because obviously everybody's like, this guy's a phony. This guy's ranked 5th or 1st in the state. And he's only wrestled 20 matches while all of us have wrestled 60 some.
Not requiring a test to display the fundamental moves to get a blue belt is a mistake. Here's the thing. So I think we're just arguing about paleo or zone, Heidi. No one would be able to. No one in my kids' weight class would be able to beat them unless they had all the fundamental moves. Like Heidi, I just took that as a given. And here's the thing too. There's and you've seen this in sports too. You have 4 kids now, right? You just had another
Yeah,
one?
4. Yep. Yeah, so just
Congrats.
had a 4th.
There was a gymnastics program I took my kids to, and every time I went there, they were either eating yellowfish or they were doing arts and crafts. And I'm like, that's weird. I never thought of eating goldfish or doing arts and crafts as gymnastics. And it was a 3-hour class. And for me,
Money
like
well spent.
yeah, I'm like, hey, kids should be able to focus for 3 hours on gymnastics. You know what I mean? And if you
Yeah.
have to take a few 2-minute or 3-minute breaks, that's fine. But but it was just they it's more like a babysitting place, and there's jiu-jitsu gyms like that, and there's soccer teams like that. It's like, hey, I'll babysit my own kids. I brought them here to be coached, And so the
Yes.
jiu-jitsu studio I take my kids to, like the other day, some kid came in and in his first day, he got kicked out. He couldn't focus. He was there for 10 minutes and they pulled the parents over and they're like, "Hey, your kid's not right for this class." And
So
that's where you want to be. You don't want like the kid
yeah.
who's like, you don't want the kid who just has no interest in being there and is just a fucking ruining the class.
Well, and the coaches this goes like with anything, whether it's CrossFit, sports, or even just in business. It's like, the person leading it. But last year we had both my daughters in a soccer, and we're in a different league. The coaches really weren't engaged. I mean, they were 9 to 5 working parents, that did it afterwards and would come in, and they would just kind of let them. I mean, they would just have them run. Or, there was really no like teaching points. Like it was good to get them out there and go, but then there was a lot of like downtime, and you could tell that the kids just really, would lose interest after like 20 minutes, which anybody that coaches kids, it is hard. Like it is, but it definitely takes a special person.
Especially
Just
since
like,
half the kids are fucking wrecked these days.
yeah. And fast forward to this year, we got her in a different league, one that was closer. And the very first practice, like I was just sitting there watching, and I was just as engaged as like the kids were. This coach was nonstop. He had great energy. He kept the kids involved. He was always like backtracking and always talking. He would even like say the kids' names, like even if he wasn't looking at them, but it kept the kids focused and it kept them engaged, and always had the kids doing that side eye back towards the coach, thinking, "Oh wait, coach is watching. I need to behave." And that's such a great tool and such a great passion that these coaches can implement at such a young age to like show these kids, "Hey, I'm watching. I'm trying to put as much into you, but I'm also taking that away." And yeah, like just, I mean, afterwards, I even like walked up to him. I mean, like just after like one practice, said, "Hey, look, you're doing an awesome job. Like I know it's hard to coach kids. That's why not everybody can do it. But I haven't seen my daughter act the way she's acted with other coaches, the way she acted here. Like she played the whole time. She listened the whole time. She never like walked away from it. She was happy, and I loved it."
Hey, I've said this since I learned this really quickly with my first kid. Pick the coach, not the sport. And so if you find a good ballet coach and you didn't want your kid to do ballet, don't just fucking put your kid in ballet. Like like tennis. Like I'd never have left my kid in tennis if it wasn't for the coach. It's just all the coach is like just legit.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, we're definitely, like with this guy, I'm gonna try and find out like what he does. I'm gonna creep on him and see, hey, you coach other things, you're doing this, because like I said, to see that, and
My kid will perform for you. I mean, what more? My kid will listen to you. What more can you ask for?
it's the same thing. Like when I tell coaches in a CrossFit gym, it's like you can see why certain people pick certain classes. Like there are some who have to go to a class like just, like just because of the time of it. But there are some who will pick certain coaches because they know what they're going to get from it. They also know that coach can like get the best out of them. And, it's like I always tell coaches, I want you to be unique to yourself. I don't want you to be a fake, but I also want you to be on that whole 60 minutes, meaning that, you can never just tune yourself out, or like you can never go into it like with low energy, because I mean, people feed off that.
I used to always pick my coffee shop by whoever had the hottest chick who was nice to me. That was it.
Respect.
I just go by there and just get a cup of coffee even though I didn't want one. Oh, this chick's gonna be nice to me and smile and she's fun to look at.
But I was going to say, but it made you feel good. It woke you up. And then you walked out of there thinking that you probably had a chance.
Walked out of there. I walked in 5'5", walked out 5'7".
Yeah, walked out of there with giving a $40 tip for a $5 coffee.
Darren's a black belt compared to Rich in CrossFit. Oh my goodness, blasphemy!
Easy people. I was gonna say, remember, Rich is not only my cousin, but he's my boss. So I don't want you guys throwing this slander out there. You get me fired.
Darren, I was listening to Robert F. Kennedy speak yesterday. He's like head of the National Institute of Health or something, like these big organizations, like the CDC, Center for Disease Control, the National Institute of Health. They're all underneath his branch now, right?
He's an animal.
Yeah. And he's the juiced up dude that talks weird.
Yeah.
He's juiced up, right?
That and I think his history, wasn't he a drug addict
He was a
or
heroin addict, but now he's
yeah.
all fucking red and
Well,
yoked.
yeah, yeah.
He's
I
like
mean,
Hiller. That's what Hiller's gonna look like in 30 years.
I would say testosterone boosters and all that stuff probably going into him.
And he gave this. He was talking about the stats, the autism stats, and he was saying that I don't have the years exactly right, but like in 1989, there were 60 kids in the state of Wisconsin that had autism, and now in 2025, there's 20,000. And he was saying that it used to be 1.7 in 10,000 in 1989, and now it's 1 in 36. And I don't know if you get your kids vaccinated. I don't get my kids vaccinated. But when I go to these fucking places, none of these kids seem like my kids. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? And I asked the tennis coach, I'm like, hey, what's up with all the kids? And he goes, what do you mean? This is a couple of years ago. I'm like, hey, these kids don't seem normal. I go, for starters, they're just mean. And he goes, well, they're all in school. And I go, what's that mean? He goes, they're in a dick measuring contest from the fucking second they wake up to the second they go to bed. He's like, your kids are homeschooled. They don't have any of that. I'm like, okay. But just the way they act, they're not focused. The parents have to fight with them to go to the events. Their faces look a little different. It almost seems like half the kids are look like the kids who were in the disabled class when I was in elementary school. Like there was that one classroom you walk by and you look in, someone's eating a crayon. Now it seems like half the kids are like that. I'm like, what the fuck? And then like kids showing up with a can of root beer. I'm like, is
Oh
it the
gosh,
root?
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
the
yeah,
root
yeah.
beer? Is it the little kid? There's a kid every day in my kid's jujitsu class, like the little sister of one of the boys in it, and she holds an iPad like this the whole time every day, like this close to her face. I'm like, I can't figure out. I'm like, is that what this is? Am I just seeing just little fucking bits of autism just everywhere now? Do you see that when you go places?
I definitely think that label, again, I'm no doctor. I'm not
Yeah.
claiming to be by any means. So,
Yeah,
this is
A&W.
just
Yeah, A&W, Christine. Yeah, it was an A&W can. It actually did look really good. It did look really good. I saw that kid drinking. I thought about taking it
a
from the
root
kid.
beer float from A&W hits different. But I definitely think like a lot of things that word, that term may get thrown around pretty easily now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a person as well. I think a lot of it comes back to the parent. And again, I mean, there are a lot that are born with, things, that definitely need to be like worked through. But I think a lot of it too is our generation is failing. From the way that we try and engage like with our kids, the way that we try and do everything for our kids, the way, that we don't have kid or kind of like that we talked about prior. Kids are not figuring things out. Kids are not outside playing enough. Kids are extremely limited, or I shouldn't say limited, like with their options, because they have a ton of options, but we don't expose them to enough. Um, I've That's why, I was me and my wife talked about this. She's like, hey, like we like talked about like when Ivy was going to a school, because like we have her in a public school. And I was like, hey, I want Ivy riding the bus. I want her to get on the bus. I want her to see, I want her to experience, I want her to realize what is all going on, like out there, because she's got to be prepared. I mean, like she has to know how to handle like this stuff. And like, we
How old
talked
is
about it.
she?
What?
How old is she?
She is 6.
Okay.
So, but again, I mean, I just think back to us at a young age, like we all rode the bus to school from, a lot of that was our very first like learning experience as far as outside world things that are outside of our family, that like things are different. So, we got on there with all sorts of kids. I mean, if you ever rode the bus, you know that it can be a heck of an experience. It's like walking into Walmart at a midnight. It's like you see, you hear
The school bus or public transportation?
school bus. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I did
Public
public
transportation.
transportation. It was crazy.
Yeah,
First
but
grade
even so,
through high school, I did a lot of public transportation. The AC
yeah.
Transit, it's like, holy shit.
But it's like, but it's like that's the stuff like where you learn, I mean, like like you experience that outside of your bubble. And it also kind of makes you realize, okay, there are different things like out there that I have to be aware of. How do I handle it? Like when these situations, because there's some people who never experience that at a young age. And then when they get to it at an older age or even a couple years, it's like it's complete shock to them and they freak out. And
go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I mean, that's exactly what I was just saying. And, in the long run, I just think it's devastating. I'm not saying the public or the school transportation is like what everybody needs to do to get, but I'm saying,
but you like that as a learning tool for your kids.
Yeah, exactly. As a start, as a good controlled kind of, or somewhat controlled start for them. It's like, hey, you got to be ready for this stuff.
I don't know if this is true, what I'm going to say, but I feel like it's true. From the first grade, when the bus was only 10 cents, to my senior year in high school, when I think it was 50 cents, every year once a year, I would see this happen. There would be someone on the bus, on the AC transit, on the public transportation, who would flip someone off in a car next to him.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like a yearly thing, and I would see it go down.
Classic move.
And then the car would follow us to the next stop. And the dude sometimes it was some big buff black dude, and sometimes it was some fucking old fat white lady with one tooth. But every year I saw that shit go down. I remember the first time I saw it, I was little and I was like, oh fuck. And by the time my senior year, I loved it, right? In the beginning, I was scared. But you're right, after once a year for 12 years, like, oh, this is gonna be exciting. But I was like, I'm never doing that.
Dude, and yeah, exactly. Like
I'm never doing that.
You would see it, and you would.
You know what I mean? The bus is going by, and you flip someone off in a car, and then they follow you to the next bus stop.
Classic
grandma gets
as a kid, because you sit there like, I am the safest guy alive in this big yellow thing, and there's no way these guys are gonna mess with us. So you're sitting there as a kid because you think it's cool. That was the bus. Oddly enough, was the first place that I saw like my very first fight. I mean, outside of family fight. But it's like, it's the first place that I sat down and sitting there, and all of a sudden you just turn around and you see high schoolers just going at it. And you're like, holy shit, this is crazy. But
hey, another lesson is that's where I first learned that everything you read isn't true, because I don't know if you remember the public bus, but they had on the bottom, what'd you say?
Oh, no, I thought that you were going on the lines of bathroom stall writing. Everything you read there is
those public buses, they had the big windows, and then they had a red handle at the bottom.
Emergency exits.
Emergency exit. And it said something like, when you pull that, the window would fall out.
Yes.
And then you would jump out. And then I was on the bus one day, and the bus stopped, and I saw some kid pull that fucking handle and then jump out the window. But the window didn't fall out. It was attached at the top. And I was terrified of that handle for like 5 years. Fuck, if I bump that handle, the window's going to fall out.
Dude,
but it didn't. And then by the time I was a senior, dudes would just pop that thing open and let the fucking thing flap while the bus was driving around. I was like, these motherfuckers, it says right here, window will fall out.
Imagine being a bus driver. Like, I mean, that like sit there, you have that mirror, it's almost just like, parenting, like as well. I mean, like when your kids, like you keep yelling at them, but they're just not listening or something. Imagine being a bus driver, because nowadays kids have so much power. I mean, that's also the part that annoys the hell out of me, because there's no kickback. I mean, like, principals can only do so much. Like you can't discipline a kid in a school the way that you used to. So kids can get away like with a lot more. I couldn't imagine sitting on a bus as a bus driver, looking at that mirror and looking at what's going on behind me, just glancing and just seeing mass chaos.
The other day I saw a video of a bus driver slapping a kid, and all the comments were like getting mad at the bus driver. I wanted to write in there so bad. Fuck that.
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't blame
the bus driver should be allowed to go back there and slap kids. It's like,
dude, especially thinking about like what I would hear, or like what kids would yell. I mean, you would get to stop at the railroad tracks, and the fingers go up for all like the little kids, and somebody be in the back, shut the F up.
Yeah.
Or
hey, another thing that drives me crazy along the line is people who tailgate buses.
Yeah,
I would every time someone's tailgating a school bus or a public bus, I just feel like the cops just need to just take that person out and take their driver's license.
Run them off. I would say run them off.
Get the fuck away from the bus, dude.
And there's always the people that try to pass it as it's starting to stop, to like let the kids off before it comes to that stop.
Yeah.
They always try and speed past it. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
You notice when when you go by a bus stop, I mean, it happens sometimes, but I always trip out when I see like an attractive person waiting at a bus stop. Because usually it's like 99% ugly people, and you're like, yeah, that's why you ride the fucking
You're like,
bus.
wait, that's my coffee lady.
But like, yeah, you go by and you'll see a hot chick, and you'll be like, what the fuck? You can't find someone to get you a ride? You know what I mean? It's like it's always like it's always like a guy. It's like always some ugly fat kid with like a backpack that's too big. You're like, yep, I know why you're riding a bus.
So then this is why you've been like tailgating buses. You may also hate those people because they're also taking away from the hot chick that you're trying to pick up.
Hey,
like,
have you met Hatfield?
Yeah.
What's he like? Is he the future? There's all this like hype around him.
He's
Is he the next Rich Froning? Could he win the games a handful of times?
He has all of the talent to definitely win the games, but obviously you never know. And I mean, seeing him perform at the Classic, I mean, the guy's got it, but regional semis, whatever, like, you know, you want to call it, is still different from a week at the CrossFit Games. You know, whether it's a week, whether it's 3 days, whatever, it's still different because, you know, those competitions still kind of have those traditional CrossFit-esque type workouts. And it's like you get there, just the grind of it, the different, you know, implements, the elements that happen, what happens between the ears, staying healthy. I mean, back then that just didn't seem to be like a thing because you're like, you just assume the athletes were all going to be there, but staying healthy. But yeah, he is fit. He's a cool guy too. Like you never know, like when you see these people now, especially me from afar and just seeing like snippets on YouTube or Instagram. But because there's so many.
He seems like a CrossFitter and not a professional athlete to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he seems like, hey, motherfucker, like he seems like the old school guys, like you guys in the barn.
Old school.
Yeah.
And it's such a breath of fresh air too, you know, because like I said, you don't know who's real or who's fake now. Because everybody's gonna I mean, it seems like everybody's got a personality or everybody's trying to be something that they're not really, you know, or they're trying to, I guess as the kids say, they're trying to act hard, but they're not hard, or they're trying to be dogs.
Someone said to me the other day, they're like, I was criticizing one of the athletes, and they're like, hey, dude, you're giving them way too much credit. These are 23-year-old men. Like, ease up on them. So there's part of that too, I guess. To that kind of.
They're 23 though.
Yeah. So it kind of like hit me like, you know, like, yeah, I'm expecting too much for these people. I mean, like, whenever, like, you know, one of these athletes drops off and takes a year off, I'm like, yeah, of course you are. Like, at some point in your youth, you got to like stop everything you're doing and be like, hey, is there a God? Why am I here? Do you know what I mean? Like when you like wake up and you're like, oh, fuck, where am I? I've been just going to school and playing for fucking 16 years. What the fuck is going on?
Think about it too. It's like we're starting to get into that CrossFit era of where the kids don't come from a sports background. They come from a CrossFit background. They started in a gym at a young age. I mean, you got the Dallin Peppers, the James Sprint.
They come from an Instagram CrossFit background.
Yeah, exactly. They don't, you know, I mean, like, they don't come from, I was literally, this is a side thing that like we can talk about later, but yeah, we're getting all these athletes that are starting at a young age, start in a gym. And it's like, a lot of them are either, you know, starting to fade out of it, or they're hitting those hard times in their life to where they're like, hey, you know, I mean, I just can't do it anymore. You're not going to have the Scotts, the Bens, the Riches, you know, the Tias, the things like that. I mean, they're just not built for it. And I'm not calling them out on that, saying it's just a different time frame of it.
And then you have the guys who are like the bunny farmers, like Hatfield, who you know he's working his ass off.
I mean,
yeah, but then you got people like Dallin Pepper who is doing the professional athlete thing, but he's kept his shit together. He's cool as fuck. He doesn't seem to be taking offense. He's like holding his shit together.
He's fit as hell, which is great, and I love that. But you know what frustrates me is,
and he's cool. He's cool. Dallin's so fucking cool.
He is. He is. He's an awesome human being. The little bit even that I've met and, you know, got to talk with them. But the thing that frustrates me is every CrossFitter is the same now. They all do the same shit. They all try and have the same Instagram videos, YouTube videos of, hey, I wake up, I make my eggs. Okay. I eat oatmeal. I, make my protein shake. I go to the gym. I work out. I scroll through Instagram. I go home and I watch Netflix.
Yeah.
It's the same routine. It's the same story. And it's just so boring to me now. It's like, do something that's cool. Show me something outside of the gym that is also going to help you be a better athlete.
And pickleball doesn't count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't. Yeah, exactly. Don't you show me this old man game? But it's like, dude. I mean, you think about it, and again, I talk about the good old days, and I get so worked up about it. But I don't like seeing people call themselves CrossFit athletes when they're not athletes. You are a CrossFitter, but are you a true athlete? Are you true to what the sport of fitness was supposed to entail for you, or supposed to help you? And people, people can say what they want. Money is involved. Money has always been involved, and guess what? You're still not going to make a huge living for a substantial amount of time unless you're really good, if not the best.
And then you still better have a cool. It's not enough. Like you're not going to be rich if you win the by rich. I don't mean Rich Froning. You're not going to be rich if you win the games 3 times.
Yes,
that $900,000 is not going to sustain you. So you better be having some other shit that you're leveraging.
Exactly. You better figure it out. And I loved, was it Saxon or Spencer or Scott? I don't know. I can't even trust like AI anymore. So it could have been any of them that said it. But it's like they're not involved in their community. And it's annoying as hell to see that, to where a lot of these guys, they don't coach. They don't maybe work out in a gym, or if they do, they're in the open gym area. They're not involved like with the community. It's like, again, not that you're trying to use those members of the gym as a investment, but those are the ones that are going to invest into you and actually carry out your legacy.
Caller, hi.
Hey, question for Darren. As a father of 3 young kids, what do you think of these guys like Sprague, Hopper, Pepper, those 3 dudes that all started as young kids? What's it going to do to their body at 70, 80, 90, 100? Are you going to lean into CrossFit at 8, 9, 10? Or do you think other sports is better for longevity? One of my oldest is 8, and she's starting to get into CrossFit, which I love. But how do you think these guys are going to fare at 80 years old, squatting this many times per week?
Competitive CrossFit is not for the longevity. There is a difference. It's just like gymnastics compared to competitive. I make gymnastics. I mean, just like all that. There is the side of it that is going to implement the dangerous part of it, the wear and tear on the body. Obviously, we're seeing that from the long-term effects of CrossFit for as young as it is, but you're seeing it like with some of these athletes. But like everything too, I mean, if you move well, you do the right things, you keep up like with your like nutrition, recovery, things like that. I mean, keep it safe and also keep it fun. Then, somebody starting at a young age, that's awesome. I absolutely love that. But when you get into the competitive side, that's where the shelf life starts to change. I can't really speak for them at 70, 80, 90, because at that age, I mean, 70s, you're probably, that's where things really, really start to become super hard to like maintain. But you get to 80, 90, hey, I mean, if I even make it there, you may just have to put a bullet in me. But yeah, I mean, I hope I hope that helps answer. And I know Saban.
It sure does. Sebi, will you get your 3 boys? Will you have them do CrossFit? I know you do constantly varied stuff, but will you actually?
No, my kids, they will never, not until they choose to do CrossFit will they do CrossFit, but they will learn all the movements. Like all my kids already now will it's go in the garage and play catch until we're sweaty. And then it's like, hey, let's do some snatches with the 10-pound barbell. Hey, you'll learn bench press. Bench press is really weird for young people. The bar's all over. They'll learn the clean and jerk. They'll learn the kipping pull-up. They'll do rope climbs, but I'll never make any of those movements not fun except for the burpee. The burpee is kind of like the only one we really use to like, hey, I'll be like, hey, do as many burpees as you can for 1 minute. And then they finish and I go, that's the last round of a tennis match or a jiu-jitsu fight. If you just did 30 burpees in a minute, that means when I say 1 minute in any fight you're left in, you know that nothing can stop you.
Yep.
And they're like, got it.
Yeah.
But I don't do
Yeah.
I don't write workouts for them. You know, like we do tons. It's all interval shit. It's like, hey, run for 3 minutes. You know, hold a D ball, and then I let them chill. You know, like hold weights in your hands, like a farmer carry. I'm not pounding them at all.
Sounds like CrossFit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't do max lifts or any of that shit with them. Yeah, nope.
And Darren, while we have you, without spilling too much tea or giving up too much, can you just explain where the split went with Matt Hewitt and how that ended? I never really heard or what he's up to. I know he's coaching at Tennessee Tech or something, but what happened there?
Yeah, no.
And I'm gonna hop off. Thanks, Evie.
Great question. I've always wondered this. I always
I'm not gonna speak for Rich or Matt to it. I can speak to it just from my side thing. I loved competing with Matt all those years. A lot of fun, a high energy dude, super talented dude too. But he is still working at Tech as a strength coach. So Matt had an opportunity after the games when he started with Open Gym. That was a new a fitness app that him and Brooks started up. And
you're talking about Katrin's husband, who was on the 2003 junior national Canadian hockey team that's now being charged with 20 years later gang raping a girl. I know that team.
Holy cow.
Sorry to drag you into that, but
geez, that is news to me. Well,
yeah, 6 of the 22 players are being investigated this year for some fucked up shit.
Jeez.
Anyway, okay, so Matt Hewitt.
So him and Brooks started that up, and at the time we were just starting up, or we had Mayhem Athlete already going. So for what he was doing, but also what we were kind of doing was on the same lines of things. So that's where the split kind of happened there. You know, we didn't, it was kind of a competing program at the time. And it kind of put Rich and Matt in a bad spot. And like a lot of things, there was just some miscommunication. Okay. Just the way that things just kind of, may have got said back and forth. And yeah, they decided to kind of go their separate ways with it. So
it seems he's been posting. He has a lot of nice things to say about Rich on his Instagram.
Yeah. Yep. Which is good. Those were, again, we always talk about like the good old days, but CrossFit, those were the good old days there. I mean, you even look at that team, man, Hobart, gosh, what a specimen of a human being.
Yeah, someone the other day told me that Hobart had cankles, and I was like, you can't have cankles if you're fat, if you're not fat. And they're like, no, you can have cankles if you're not fat. And I'm like, you can?
Hobart has some girth on those shins, calves, yams, whatever you want to call those things. But that guy and the way that Hobart is, he's just one of those people, like, you look at him, he looks like an average CrossFitter. Like, you're like, oh man, like this guy's fit. But then you put him in.
He looks like a virgin.
He looks like That's exactly what I thought too when I looked at him. I go, man, I have seen your kind before. I know it well.
You are a virgin. I normally don't make fun of people for that, but he looks like a virgin.
Oh man, yeah, I know, it's crazy though too.
You ever get jealous of all the guys who roll through there and try to, like, not when you were younger, like it's you and Rich, and then there's all these other boys like vying for like trying to get in your and Rich's friendship?
Rich was the first. It's weird because I say it like that, but he was the first famous person that I was around. like when he rose to like stardom and stuff, and obviously he kind of hit the ground running, like with CrossFit, he blew up in it. Like, even though, CrossFit was still smaller, but in the same time in the CrossFit realm, he was famous. Like,
yeah, he was the guy.
So yeah, he became that guy. So at first it was super cool because you're meeting all these people. But then, like anything, you start to figure out who leeches are, or like who the bloodsuckers are, who the ones that are coming around for what your name is. And, you know, that's the part that I feel that I always felt so bad for him, because it's got to be so hard to hear people come around you all the time, and you never know who necessarily is there because they want to know you, or there because they want to know you to help them be successful. So that, I mean, like, that was always tough, because when I first experienced it with somebody that came in, and then you kind of see them come through like a fast food restaurant, they got what they needed and then they left, and you never heard from them again. You know, you see that, you know, that they were able to kind of make a quick sale from it, or, you know, they gain followers from it or stuff like that. So that's where later on it was just tough, because like I said, you just never knew. I mean, and again,
And
just
you had to
on
trust his, and it's your radar versus his radar, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I remember working at CrossFit and being like, man, what is so and so seeing this person? I do not see it.
yeah. Yep. And you know, and again, on like Rich's side of things, it's like, yeah, it had to feel good from having these people tell you, oh, you know, you're the best, or hey, constantly feeding, you know, your ego and stuff. And you know, you kind of just sit in the background. You're like, man, but you know, you're just kind of keeping an eye out on them. And you know, there are the outliers that have proved me wrong, that, you know, you thought were there for the short term, and they're there 10 plus years and they're still going. You're like, okay, you know, those are good people.
Yeah, like your radar wasn't right.
Yeah. Yeah, like Dre was actually a great example of this, because when Dre came, he was a young kid.
Dre Stro, that's the
Yeah.
videographer, great athlete guy, right? Okay.
Amazing athlete. But Dre was one of those guys, like, showed up, and like, you know how like you look at a person, I mean, like when you first meet them and you instantly you just start judging, like you start making these things. Dre walks in. I don't know if he's black, white, whatever, you know, because Dre's got the Filipino look to him. Or sorry, he is Filipino. Didn't mean to say it like that.
No,
But
he could have the Filipino look and be Filipino. It's fine.
yeah,
It's like in the South, it could be your sister and your girlfriend. It's fine.
Filipino. There you go.
You could be, yeah.
But he's got these stud earrings in and things, you know, and he's like, you know, and he's Dre. He's he was like, hey, I'm just here to work out and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't know who he was. Like, I didn't know who he was as an athlete. And he's working out in the class, and he's just dominating. He's killing everybody's times. He's beating my times, which is pissing me off even more. And you know, so the whole time I'm like, oh man, you know, I can't let this guy get to Rich, because then, you know, this guy's gonna start training with him. He's gonna become his right hand man. They'll call him Rich's cousin, and then I'll be out of here. But then Sarge actually picked up on a Dre as well, and like noticed him, and, you know, got talking with him. And, you know, after a couple months, we noticed, you know, Dre kept quiet. Like, he never asked for anything. He did his thing. And then Sarge said, hey, you should take him over Rich's. So we
How long was that? A month?
That was probably I don't want to butcher it, but probably like 3 to 6 months, somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere within that time frame.
And he was a Filipino in Cookeville.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be the name of a movie, Filipino in Cookeville.
It is. It's gonna be a Netflix series. But yeah, took him over there and did a couple workouts, and realized obviously just how fit he was, and obviously he was a really cool guy. Like, Dre's awesome. Then he started getting into the video stuff, which he self-taught himself. He didn't come from a college background of it. So went to school for it, self-taught himself, and that's when all the Mayhem Mondays and all that stuff kind of started kicking.
So he found a role for himself. Yeah,
he did. He built it into a lifelong career, which was awesome. I loved it, because again, he was a guy you thought that was going to be there short term, kind of get his training in, kind of get what he wanted, you know, learn from Rich, and then leave. And he's been there ever since.
You ever see people like, you know, where Rich's landmines are, and you ever see someone new around him who's trying to impress him, and then they stepped on a landmine, but they don't know they stepped on a landmine, and so you look at Rich, and like you and a couple of the other guys know that person just kind of stepped on a landmine.
Yeah, say it. They say the wrong thing, even, you know. It's like, I mean,
they spit on the floor in the gym in the middle of a workout. You're like, oh,
dude,
we're never seeing that dude again.
just stupid stuff, or they post something on, on like Instagram or whatever, like, oh, hey, I got to work out like with the champ, and it's like they didn't even talk to Rich. Like Rich doesn't even know like who they are,
Right.
And they're like posting video of them like, next, like next to him as he's working out in the corner, like, oh, getting my workout in. It's like, okay.
Life's interesting like that too, because it's like an algebra equation. First of all, you don't want to be a coupon counter. You don't want to count favors like you've done for me and I've done for you. That's a horrible place to be.
100%.
But you also want people to use you, right? You want your wife to use you. You want your students to use you. You want them to leverage your knowledge. You want, like, on one hand, you want people to use the fuck out of Mayhem, but you don't want them to tax the system. It's kind of trippy. So Dre figured out that balance. I'm going to use this, but I'm also going to learn something and I'm going to add value.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of this, it's kind of weird. If your parents don't teach you that, I don't know what, there's some people who are like that. They just want to take, I don't know what exactly it is, but there's other people that realize that they're almost in competition with themselves. Like, hey, I want to be the one who gives the most here. And those people end up getting the most.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, just on mine, like I said, Dre, but I used him as a, example. Dre wasn't even getting paid. It's
Right.
like he paid out of his own pocket to live there. And on top of that, started paying for his college classes. And then he started designing t-shirts for us. And then obviously that turned into an actual job for him. But it's like, it's something that he didn't ask for, nor did he like demand it, And the other thing is like expecting. It's like when people expect something back, it's like, the I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like you're hopeful that person will help out, but at the same time, you shouldn't expect it.
Yeah. Coupon counting is fucking disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and it's always kind of weird when one of your friends lets it kind of slip out. But I did, 3 years later, but I did this for you. You're like, what?
You're like, here we go. Here we go. I love that. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Hatfield for a second. When you said that the games is a different beast than semifinals, anything in specific? Do you mean the unknown and the unknowable? You mean the quality of the competition? You mean the longevity of the workout? You mean what do you mean? The pressure?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the more or less of it turning into one, it's late in the season because you're talking about these athletes who had to be fit through the open, then they had to make it through regionals. And then, back then, I mean, you didn't hear of downtime. It's like these athletes were turned on the whole way through until the game. So it's like, if you made it there just on that, a lot of them are hanging on by like a limb. So getting to that stage and then the long grind of it when it was like a week or so, not knowing what the workouts are, just like, I mean, you talk about CrossFit in general, but when they would, the 1 year when they released Murph for the game, so people were testing Murph prior, and it's like, that's a workout you test, but you're not going to retest. And it's hard to give your true games like experience, 100%. When they were sending these ones out for regionals or semis, whatever, it's like those ones you can give a good hard test on those, at least get a decent idea. But then like when you get out there and then you get in the chaos of it all, to open up a lot of these events with beach swim, with swimming or running or things like that, where you got 40 some athletes just confined going into these crazy places, a lot of that alone knocks athletes out.
Like the bike race is a good example of that. The year they started with the bike, people were saying like, holy shit, that like fucked a lot of people up. People weren't.
I'm like mentally too, because that's like that's something you can be fit as hell, but you cannot outdo the skill of it, or it's just luck too, because like we said, we saw the chain breaks, we saw the bike crashes, somebody else messes it up for you. I mean, that's multiple, occasions that you cannot be prepared for, and it's also how you can overcome it. So yeah, starting off things like that is completely different than after that. Like think
So
about
we need to see Hatfield. We need to see him before we know for sure in that
exactly.
environment.
Yeah. I mean, he is super fit. He's definitely got, all the stuff to it. But think about the year that they did Murph, like when Josh Bridges won it. Do you remember what the next event was?
No, what was it?
They had to do the snatch ladder after, and it ended at a 265. So after being out there in the sun, I mean, people were heat stroke, stuff like that. They had to get ready after doing 100 pull-ups, push-ups, squats, weighted vests, all that stuff. They had to get their shit together and go do arguably the hardest movement in all of CrossFit, with some of them lifting at 90+% of their 1RM.
Yeah.
And it's like, I couldn't imagine, a regional semi CrossFit competition that would even have something like that lined up.
Hey,
I mean, you talk about programming.
You made me think of something that I don't think I've ever shared. So
Oh.
I was at the finish line when they're coming across for that Murph.
Yeah.
And I'm filming the guys, the Cara Saunders passing out. The Sam Briggs came in, I think, first also. She's helping girls who can't and boys who can't get their vests off. She's going around helping everyone. But I'll never forget Benny Garrard, Ricky's brother.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He crossed the finish. It's hot as fuck on the field, right? Over 100 degrees on the field.
Dude. Yeah.
And he's looking for some shade. So do you remember those signs they had all around?
The big triangle?
No, it was just they were those electronic
like
banners that went around.
Yeah.
So he crosses the finish line. He's he's a great dude. He's all smiling. He's always fucking happy. Yeah, he's cool as shit. And he crosses the finish line. He's smiling, but I could tell he's fucking wrecked. And he climbs under one of those like sign things, and under there, it's still 100 degrees from the heat from the sign. So I'm like, this guy's escaping from the sun into a fucking sauna. Yeah.
Dude, I know.
And so many people were doing that, climbing under there for shade, but it was so hot under there.
They had the wagons out there that they were putting the vest on, and I actually remember like being like in the stands watching. They're trying to pull the wagon, but athletes were crawling underneath of the wagon, and they're like, hey, you got to move. We got to get these. And it was like,
that's like the escape from Afghanistan when dudes are holding on to the plane. No,
yeah, it was like, holy cow. But again, things like that, it's like that's where the games can F them up. And then Sunday, it's all I say it all the time, you gotta be built for Sunday. Everybody wants to showcase the first day, second day, because they're fresh, they feel good. But on Sunday, when you feel like shit and everything's falling apart, it's what you can string together.
You think you could be a good wingman for any athlete, or you were just a great wingman for Rich?
I think with our family's dynamics, personality, I think it was a good combination because, again, where, I have, or Rich and I generally have like the same view, like on things, and where I'm not competing, I can see the light in it, like when things are down. And then obviously on the other side for Rich, when, you don't do well, you're pissed off. But if I'm on the other side of it, seeing the light of it, or just talking about something completely different to like take your mind off of it, or just to bring up something else, I think that was a good combination. And it obviously helped that he's the fittest man of all time. So whatever I said just worked. Just in general.
I'm gonna ask you again, but like me, I'm like the best friend any person can have. I realized that like in the 3rd grade, I'm like, holy shit, if I'm the greatest friend ever. I like, if I fall in love with you, fucking you won the fucking lotto. And I could be friends with anyone. Once I put my mind to it, I can just be friends with anyone. If I'm like, oh man, I really like this person. I don't care what they do. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't like. Fucking slap my mom, we'll still talk about it. Like I can just really fucking put the love on. Do you think you could do that for any athlete? Like are you gonna have to tell Jake Nomchemp, hey dude, you want Hatfield to win? Sit this one out, buddy. Let me be Hatfield's wingman.
I think.
Don't be humble. Just tell me what if are you the greatest wingman ever?
I think that I could be 50% of what they need, meaning that, you know, I can only do so much for them, but they need to be able to be at 100% of that 50%, meaning that if they can't give it their all there, well, then what I'm doing is nothing. I'm just making jokes. But I am a very easygoing person that can ride with anybody. I mean, doesn't matter, you know, like what your personality is or what, I can usually find common ground there. And I think that's where coaching, just in general, like all those years, I was able to relate to a lot of athletes. But again, you know, I mean, I can't just take any athlete and make them a champion. Like that's just, you know, like I mean, like that's just the reality of it. They also have to have it as well. There's going to be these athletes that can train their whole life, but they're not going to win. You know,
Barclay, I'd feel unstoppable if Darren was my wingman. Barclay also sent me a text this morning. He said, fun fact, Darren Hunsucker's best open finish ever was 109th in 17.4, which was the 55s workout.
Wow. Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. That was the cal row, or no, deadlift, handstand push-up, cal row wall ball, I believe.
I have no idea.
He said 55s. I believe that was it. Wow.
Remember when you asked me if I do jiu-jitsu and I'm like, well, I wrestle every day with my boys?
Yeah.
That's kind of like CrossFit. Like if people say, do I do CrossFit? I'm like, yeah, it's like every day I do something. Yeah. I rode for max time for 13 minutes the other day before I felt my back start to get a little weird.
So let me ask you this, Savon, then. So, you know, you asked me, you know, do I think that I could be the best wingman to it? But I mean, on your side of things, you just said that you could be somebody's like best friend, you know, that they would ever need. I mean, that's essentially what a CrossFit athlete needs. A games athlete, they need somebody that can be that friend to them, but can also give them the tough love. So why aren't you coaching?
I guess I am. I guess I am my kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I guess I am my kids. Like I know, like, my wife, when I text my wife, I'm like, hey, Avi's got an ice pack on his ankle, and she said, please be nice to him. And I said, of course. And she goes, I knew you would be. I just am reminding you. And
don't
she
hit
knows,
him in
like,
the chest.
I'm just you just have to remember at all times, I think, what would you want? So even if I'm fucking pissed, it's like, hey, what would I want from my dad? Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, he's hurt. Now's not the time to be like, what's going to happen is today he's going to want to go do something. And that's when I'm going to give him the tough love. Right. That's when I'm going to be like, hey dude, no. And he's going to be like, but I'm fine. I'm like, hey dude, it's my job as your dad to just tell you no, even if you say you're good, like this time now it's my time. I'll do something else with you. I'll play cards with you. I'll watch YouTube videos and learn. You can practice magic tricks on me. You know, we can play chess.
Yeah.
We can go outside and play catch, but you're not fucking going out to the trampoline and doing backflips for an hour.
Do you ever kind of think about it too as well? I don't know, the past couple of years, especially that I've gotten older, or I've, you know, just been around like parents just in general. But, you know, like when people say, well, I'm not going to do this because I didn't like it, like when my parents did it, or, you know, like that, like saying, the more that I think about it too, it's like, yeah, but I mean, look how
that
you
made you the great man that you are.
Well, yeah. That, I mean, like, that to me it's always a frustrating thing to hear, because you're like, okay, but if you believe you turned out to be a good person, people say that you're a good person, you do the right thing within reason and stuff. I'm not saying you got to go full force just like your parents, but obviously those things, just like you said, made you the way they are. They lined things up for you. And I mean, in a way, the right people were like in your life. And I know there's other things that happen, but it's always frustrating. Like when I see people take a complete opposite approach of what their parents may have done, but yet they turned out to be very, very good people. You know,
it's like this. The other morning I went out with the kids, and they're like, one of my kids is like, hey, there's three boys. And they're like, hey, one of my kids says, hey, can I have pancakes? And there were some other kids there who were eating pancakes. And I don't want my kids' the first meal of the day to be pancakes. So, but then I'm also thinking, if I say yes to him, the other two are going to want it. So I'm processing all the shit, right? And then so I said, hey, buddy, you make the right choice. You know I like it for you to start the morning with protein. He said, okay. So he orders, 3 scrambled eggs, side of bacon, and then I see pancakes show up at the table. All right, cool. The other 2 boys don't eat pancakes. 2 hours later, we're at my friend's house, and the kids are eating Klondike bars. And my kids are like, hey, can I have a Klondike bar? And I know it's like they're like drug addicts, right? I know it's gonna make me feel bad. It's gonna make me feel bad to say no. It's like I always think of it, it's like you're in a hostage situation at all time with your kids. They're holding you hostage. You're like, am I willing to deal with the blowback?
Yeah.
That's always it. Am I willing to deal with the temper tantrum? Am I willing to deal with the feelings I'm gonna have when I see my kid feel bad?
Yeah.
So I say, hey, come back and ask me in 15 minutes. I don't want to talk about that right now. And then almost always that buys then because they're like flies on shit, right? They just go from one pile to another pile.
Yeah, exactly. They get on something else.
So I forget what your question was, but my parents used to do that to me all the time. When I was 16, I asked my mom, a kid started making fun of me for my nose, and my mom's like, I'm like, hey, can I get a nose job? She goes, as soon as your nose stops growing when you're in your 20s, I'll get you a nose job. I'm like, okay, cool. Never thought about it again. I asked my dad if I could get a motorcycle when I was 14. He said, no problem. Wait a few years and I'll get you a motorcycle. Never thought about it again, until Greg bought me like 15 motorcycles. Yeah. So that's how that's how I do it.
That's good.
The only time that I did, the hardest thing for me as a kid is when my parents didn't believe me. So my parents would be like, hey, I tried my hardest in school and I still brought home a C. And they would say, no, you didn't try your hardest.
I know. Yeah.
And that shit kind of like, so I try to just always trust my kids. That's why it's so easy for me not to get upset at him or for jumping, because I want him to know I trust him.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude, I trust you. And 99 times out of 100, he's right and I was wrong. And that one time, I'm not going to throw it in his face. I just want to trust them.
Yep.
And I want them to know that I trust them. And there's this Taoist saying, if you trust people, they become trustworthy. I'm sure you've had friends who are like that. Like you lend them $1,000, they don't pay you back, and you don't get mad at them, but it's on their mind every time they're around you. And then 3 years later, one day they show up and pay you the $1,000 back, and then everything's cool.
That's a friend, though.
Yeah.
That's you being a friend. That's friendship. That's not a makeshift one. That's not a wannabe friendship. That's a true one. Like, hey, just like you said, you loan them the money, that it's on their mind. You can tell that it's wearing on, but they just don't have it yet.
Yeah. And even you see them do dumb shit. You see them show up with a new car or they rented a new apartment, but you it's on them at this point. And you still trust them. You're not going to lend them another $1,000. If they ask you again, you're like, hey, dude, you still owe me $1,000. But it's on them. You just keep trusting them. And then eventually they become, most of the time they become trustworthy. And then you're free from I don't have to be mad at you. I don't have to carry any of it. I don't want to carry. So that's kind of how I am with my kids. I just try to remember that those were the things. And I had great parents. You know what I mean? There's very few things they didn't trust. My parents trusted me all the time. My mom, in the second grade, we went to back to school night and I took a bag with me, a brown bag, and it was full of eggs. And my mom's like, what's in the bag? I'm like, I don't want to tell you. She's like, okay, no problem. And then I went there and me and my friends threw eggs at all the parents' cars and we got in trouble. And I still never got in trouble at home for that. I got in trouble at school. I just in the principal's office every day at lunch for a month. One of the kids fucking snitched. We made a pact not to tell, and one of the kids cracked.
Did you ever, have you ever talked to that kid prior? Have you ever went back to his house and egged it? You're like, hey,
no.
Hey, remember me?
No, he was a cool, he was a cool kid. His name was Jeff Darden. I'll never forget him. When he first transferred to the school, I was in the second grade, and he started talking to my girlfriend at the time, Michelle Harper. And I told him, hey, dude, don't talk to my girlfriend anymore. And he kept talking to her. So I'm like, hey, I'll fight you after school. And he showed up with his big brother.
And his eggs.
And I said,
his big brother.
Yeah, he showed his big brother. And the truth was, this is the truth. I've never admitted this. I'm admitting it for you. The truth is, I'm like, hey, I'm not fighting with your big brother here, but really, I just didn't want to fight him. I'd
Oh,
never
that's
seen him
the
fight
best,
before.
yeah.
He was the new kid. I was like, fuck, did I get in over my head? I never seen this. And he was really good at like soccer and shit. And I was like, what if he's like,
Oh, dude, he probably kicked me in the nuts just so hard.
yeah, what if he's, so I didn't fight. And then we became like best buddies and egg cars together and shit like that.
Cars.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and like for me, man, that cracks me a bag of that. But for me, it's like the hardest thing that I had like growing up. I mean, as far as, you know, like what I didn't like that like my mom and dad did, or mainly like my mom with it, is that as I got older and, you know, like at a young age, you know, like when you would get in trouble and you're like, why? And they're like, because I said, okay, well, as a young kid hearing it, you know, I mean, like there's just certain things. And obviously as a kid, like you can't process like what you really did wrong. But
Yeah.
when I got older and you start to understand things, but I heard the same thing, it goes, okay, but if I'm doing something wrong, I want to know what it is so I don't do it again. You know, because there were just like a lot of things, again, as you get into middle school or high school, it's like, okay, why are you yelling at me then? Because tell me so I can figure this out. So that's something that
like you literally didn't know you were getting in trouble for shit. And like, you're like, you were ignorant to what you did.
Well, and then also imagine, you know, like with all of your brothers, a lot of times you're getting in trouble for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's not even the fact that you did it. It's just that you were there. So it's like, okay, explain to me why I'm getting yelled at when I didn't do it, or at least let me explain it to like what actually happened. But a lot of it would just be like, no, you're in trouble, you're grounded, that's it, you know, because I said you are. And that was always the frustrating thing for me, because I also, at a young age, I had a pretty bad stutter, which I still have it now, but you know, it's gotten better. So when you're nervous and you're emotional and mad, it's like I couldn't say what I wanted to because I just start stuttering. So
How did you get rid of your stutter?
Well, I didn't get rid of it. I still have it, but you just
I haven't heard it in this podcast.
It's there. Trust me. When you go back and maybe put it
someone
on
make fun
rewind.
of him. Someone make fun of him for his stutter if he stutters, please. In the comments.
Please do. It makes me feel great.
Hey, what's the mechanism for stuttering? Why do kids stutter?
I honestly don't know. For me, I mean, a lot of it, nervousness, things like that. And you know, they can say being a middle child, you know, because they always say the middle child doesn't really get heard. But yeah, for me, I've always noticed that it was nerves. You know, whenever I get nervous or I get excited, you know, you repeat it, or you have a hard time just saying like certain things. So obviously when I'm getting yelled at and I'm trying to explain it, but I can't necessarily say it, I'm hearing all this stuff like in my head and I'm trying to say it like to my mom and dad, but I'm just stuttering the whole time. And at that point they're probably frustrated. So they're like, oh, you're just grounded. so yeah, they're like, hey, you can't say it. We're done. That's it.
Hey, one of my kids has started doing this thing. One of my 8-year-olds, he'll start to say a sentence and then start it over like 4 times.
Hey,
Heidi, come here. I want to tell you something. And I come over. He's like, I want to tell you something. Okay. And he's like, I'm going to tell you something. There's this, I want to tell you something. There's this, I'm like, yo, motherfucker. He's like, what? I'm like, no, you don't start at the beginning again.
Say it, son.
You don't, and everyone starts laughing. I'm like, do not start at the beginning. I don't need the three sentence intro 4 times.
Yeah, that's the same thing. This isn't a skip track or anything like that. I know. So that's what I've been trying. I mean, for kids at a young age, a lot of kids have it, whether it's, you know, something like that. Tut tut today, dude. If I had a penny for every time that I heard that as a young kid.
Why is that from a movie?
Yeah, that's from Billy Madison, I believe. Where he's tut tut today, Junior.
Hey,
with Adam Sandler, where he goes back to school.
Travis Bajan has a stutter sometimes. I mean, I spent a lot of time with him, and he also has that cleft palate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And one time I go, hey, did you have a hair lip as a kid? He fucking walked over to me and goes, hey, cleft palate, motherfucker. I guess hair lip is like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone called my kid a kike, it's like, hey, you don't do that. It's a racial slur. Like, don't you dare. I was like, all right. We're good. Cleft palate.
Dude,
cleft
just
palate.
foot in the mouth, like right there, where it's like, oh, hey, you got a little something here on your lip.
It's like midget and dwarf. Like for some reason, midget's bad. You're like, all right. You're like, all right, I'm cool. You're dwarf.
Yeah, exactly.
Midget, I'm sorry.
Or you're like, hey, you got this mark on your face. Let me wipe that out. Like, it's cancer, you idiot. Or like, oh my gosh, just instantly.
Hey,
So,
let's go to a heavy place.
all right.
When Lazar passed at the games,
Mhm.
that afternoon we did a podcast back at the house in Madison. Was it Madison or Fort Worth? We did a podcast back at the house, and Taylor Self was on the podcast. Did you meet Taylor down at Mayhem? The bald dude?
I did not know.
Okay. So were you there for the classic?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So do you know who he is? I do a show with him, the competition show on 8 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get on the podcast and everyone's trying to weigh in. It's a big show, thousands of people watching. And he just fucking stops and he just starts like, when I was 15 years old, my fucking dad died. He goes, you guys don't fucking understand. When someone in your family dies close to you, you don't care. You don't care what you're going to eat next. You don't care about like, all you want is that person back. All you want is that, like, you don't care.
Yeah.
You don't care about nothing fucking else. And I was like, oh shit, like this is some fucking real shit. Like I never thought of it. Like, because there's only a few times in your life you get singularly focused like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
that's like real focus. That's like magical focus. And unfortunately it comes during hardship. I think those Chinese guys who play ping pong must have that when they play ping pong. But it's crazy. Was it like that for you as a kid? And then like for like you just stop eat, like you don't even eat, you don't get hungry, you don't get nothing. You're just like, and can you relate to that when you saw Lazar die? Did you like start empathizing with Luca and be like, oh shit, this guy's in that spot?
You know, so something.
And for people who don't know, Darren had a brother pass away and a cousin pass away at a very young age, very close proximity, close family members.
Yeah. So actually, I would say both of my older brothers passed.
Oh, it's two brothers.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, I thought it was a cousin.
No. That's fine. Okay, I'm not gonna hold it against you for long. But it was weird because a lot of people. That's the problem that I had for the longest time after it happened is everybody thinks it's like in the movies, you know. I mean, like you see the person storm out, you see him scream, you know, why God and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you know, there were parts of that, but honestly, I was in. It was almost like an outer body experience. Like when it happened. So when my first brother Matt passed away, I'll never forget it. Well, I mean, I'll never forget either. But like as far as like what happened, I was at wrestling practice actually, and afterwards, so he had passed. He actually committed suicide. Well, I obviously didn't know, but usually my older brother Donnie, who had not passed, he passed away a few years later. But he usually would take me home from wrestling practice. Well, when wrestling practice was over, he wasn't there, and it was my dad's friend picked me up and took me home, which was weird. Like this had never happened like before, but obviously I'm 14 at the time. He didn't tell me. He goes, hey, I was just, you know, I'm here to pick you up and I'm going to take you to your parents' house. So on the ride home, it was, you know, it's dark, it's late. And the whole ride home, he's just quiet, which he was always a very talkative guy. And me as a kid, you know, I mean, I'm just quiet, just sitting there. And we pull into the house and there's just cars everywhere. There's cars all in, you know, like my driveway and stuff. And which I wouldn't say wasn't normal because in our family setting, we'd always have a ton of people over, but there was a ton of cars and
Too many.
And then I saw what?
Too many that night.
Yeah, exactly. Like
instead of 10 cars, it was everywhere, double parked and on your lawn.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like double parked, and it's a weekday, so you're like, okay, we're not having a party. But anywho, I walk in the house and everybody's quiet. You know, everybody's quiet, and I'm just looking around because I'm trying to figure out like what's going on. Like no one's telling me anything because obviously, you know,
are you the youngest? Are you the youngest?
No, middle.
Okay.
Middle. So, and then finally, I make my way over to the living room and I see my mom and dad and they're crying. But then I look over and my younger brother walks up and he explains it to me. And then from that point, it's like, I couldn't grasp it. Like I couldn't understand what just happened. You know, like you're 14, you watch these movies and stuff, you know, like as like a younger kid, but I didn't have that feeling. I just kind of stood there.
Like you dropped a hit of acid or something, like reality. Just
it was. And then people, you know, people that have had it happen to them, anything like it, they're like, feels like a dream. And, you know, and that was it. I remember I kind of walked away. I went to my room. I sat there and, cried obviously. But then I remember sitting in there and then I just passed out. Like, I don't know how, but I just fell asleep. And I woke up the next day and I'm like, it was a dream. Everything felt normal. I woke up, it was a dream. And then I walked out. And then that's when reality hit. When the next day happened, that's when I'm like, oh shit, this is real. So like that part for me, seeing like what happened to like Lazar, but then other people taking their emotions who maybe not be involved family wise, like, yeah, everybody, it's a community thing, but again, they're not family. They may not know him. And I see them taking to social media and throwing out all this stuff. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, but the family has to see that. The family now sees all this stuff going on online about what happened to their son, to his brother. And I'm like, that's not something that the family needs. What they need is togetherness. They need the gathering. They need the people being supportive, not the blame game, whose fault it is. That's later on. That's a side thing. So, if I can tell anybody anything for it, and then, you fast forward to my older brother, it's like the community is what saved us. Like from our small town, from our family, we had people over our house every single day for the next like 3 months, just making sure we're okay, helping us out, being with us, checking in on us, and then our cousins and stuff. And, nobody was blaming. Nobody was like, oh, it's because of this, or, oh, you didn't do this. It's like things do happen, accidents. There's always a way that you can prevent something. You could have always done something different, but it's like that time has passed. It's like you learn from it and you hope that this doesn't happen again. You hope that you can put things in place to where no one gets put in this situation. So,
Are you sensitive to, have you had anyone else around you commit suicide? That was another interesting thing that happened. A trainer recently killed themselves.
yeah,
And what's funny is Taylor had just started building a relationship with that guy. That guy had been coaching Taylor to become a level 4 trainer. And
yeah,
Taylor called me like 3 days in a row and he's like, "Hey dude, I'm having trouble with this." And I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "This is fucked up. Why didn't I see it? Like, was I being selfish? Like, why the fuck didn't I should have spotted this." And are you sensitive to that now?
no, I mean, and I don't want to say it like I'm insensitive by any means. I give my mom a lot of credit at a young age. With us, she had us. We experienced death a lot at a young age, meaning that she didn't shelter us from it. Whether it was an uncle passing, a friend passing, we were at that funeral every single time. We were at the reception. We were at their house, and that's where we understood it. It was, I mean, yeah, you're in shock like when it happens, but it's like we also knew the importance of being together. So, second time suicide, our uncle that lived next to us, lived across the field from us, and our other cousin JJ, who you met before, he actually is next door with him. We're all within like a mile radius, but he committed suicide a couple years ago. We lived next to him our whole lives. He was a firefighter as well, but he had battled for years with mental, like depression. He would go in those dark places and stuff, and it was tough. But at the same time, it's, the family got together. You have your time of mourn, grief, but then you start talking about all the good times. And like we still bring it up to this day, all the times we had with him. We laugh like so hard at like some of these stories. And I always think that's something that's such an underutilized thing, is when people see somebody going through it, they instantly say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," instead of going up to him and talking about what this person did for me that impacted like my life, or made me happy.
Like a good memory.
Yeah, exactly. I love hearing people still message me to this day about stories about my two brothers, about memories. And there are some that I'll laugh my ass off about. It's like those are the things I love hearing. Like the sad stuff, all that stuff happens, but you hear about the lives that they like touched and that they impacted. It's the same thing that people have, even as being a coach or as a dad. It's like those lasting impacts is what's going to keep that memory, keep everything going.
How are you for time?
Good.
Okay, good. Hey, I'm gonna take a piss.
Go ahead,
Okay,
man.
okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Did that one girl have a black eye in the video?
I was watching it. That was good, but I looked like she kind of did, or she just has those tired eyes.
The one chick looked like she got fucking like talked back to her husband. Hey, you know what's crazy about the subject of death is like it's kind of in that realm of like extreme experiences, right? So like some guy who tries to do a triple backflip on a BMX bike, but that you're doing, but that's why it's such a fascinating experience to hear people talk about because it's so fucking extreme.
It is. It is, and everybody's experience is so different with it. You know, I mean, there is no handbook of how of like what's right or wrong of like how to handle it. I mean, everybody's going to handle it different, but there are guidelines that I think people can, use or at least try and stay I mean, on that path to not dwell. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said that there weren't hard days, but at the same time, I don't let that bring me down, or, I try not to let that bring anybody else down. To me, that's the most important thing. It's like everybody has issues, but if you start putting your issues onto somebody else, that's where it's a problem. You start bringing down their day, and then that person could take it to somebody else's. You get that, just that trickle effect. And it's just like a drug,
You do all the programming for Mayhem affiliate?
Yeah. Yep.
So thousands of gyms around the planet do the programming you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. There's other hands. I mean, sorry, I don't want to make it sound like every single thing programmed. Like, I'll get ideas, I mean, I'm just like everybody else with it. It's like, Jake Lockhart has been great. Christy Novak has been awesome as well. Like we bounce ideas, we tweak things.
Is that a girl,
obviously.
Christy Novak?
What?
Is that a girl, Christy Novak?
Yeah.
I didn't think women worked at Mayhem. Oh, that's
yeah.
Mayhem was like the Navy SEALs. There were no women.
Christy is an animal, and she is awesome for the affiliate community. She is great. But yeah, we bounce ideas off of one another. Rich will throw in his stuff, and I love when Rich programs a workout, because if they hate it, I have the best cop out where I'm like, hey, Rich programmed this, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I love this workout. It's the best thing ever.
Like, Darren is the reason my body hurts weekly. Hurts so good.
Exactly. It's a good hurt.
And you have 4 kids and you're living in Michigan.
Yeah.
And recently you did a podcast recently in the last year with Angelo and Rich.
Yeah.
And you guys were reminiscing. It was pretty damn funny. I was actually kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It was a really fun podcast. And I was surprised because usually I'm just like looking for like information if I'm listening to something like that. And it was just I caught myself laughing. And
Angelo has done a phenomenal job. Like
at replacing you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But like Angelo was like one of those kids, you're like, oh, this is a little shit kid, but he's another one of those people that grew up in it at a young age, stuck it out, had his ups and downs. But it's like Angelo is a workhorse now. He works hard. He still trains hard, obviously. Super fit, but truly loves what he does and truly sees the value in the community as well.
Yeah, he had a pretty serious back injury, and I thought a few years back, and I thought he was done.
Yeah, same. That's what we all thought.
And I thought he was gonna be like Nick Palladino. Him and Nick were gonna start a Twitch streaming channel. And does any part of you how often do you consider moving to Cookeville?
Man, a lot. But I mean, the reality of it is kind of like I said prior. It's like
it's cheap there, dude. It's cheap.
Yeah. It is. It is financially. financially, it makes sense. But like I said, with our families, the way they are and stuff, like with my wife's family here, and especially like with my family, minus Rich and them, this is where I'm like, we want to be growing our kids up. Not that Cookville is bad in any way, but I wouldn't trade what I had for the world. And I mean, like my wife will say the same thing, growing up around, our cousins, our family, especially in the area, like that we absolutely love it. So, that is the part that hurts too, because, Jess and I talk about it all the time. We're like, man, a lot of our best friends are there still,
Do you own property in Cookville?
No, I don't. Rich wouldn't put my name on the building. So sad to say it's all his.
I'm surprised you haven't found a way to get a home there or something, like a shack.
Get a shack. Yeah, exactly. What are you
doing?
You didn't even like that.
Where is this?
So that was the studio that I built, or sorry, me and my family built last year. Hey,
you still have this place?
Yeah. I would say so. Like, this is a garage that I built onto my house because when I started doing this like full time with the programming, I was, working out at my cousin's barn, and it's more of a grit and grind type, brick and mortar type feel to it. So I was like, all right, if I'm going to be legit at this, I want to have a good, clean studio that I don't have to drive somewhere to. I can walk out, film, do all my stuff. And then where me and my wife, we both work from home. So going back in, being able to take care of the kids. Yeah, you don't even like my stuff. What's going on?
Oh, I didn't like it?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wait. Hey, dude, this is a nice setup.
Yeah. Hey, this is all off of Rich's back.
Yeah, that's a tax deduction, right? You build that. That's your studio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this place is nice. And are these workouts the workouts that often you program for affiliates?
Yep. Yeah. And yeah, so I started following. So prior to it, like maybe 2 years ago or so, I would just program them, and like there were some that I would test out or whatever. But then I would basically have Mayhem itself do them too. So I actually started following along with the program just over a year ago. So I do everything that they're doing on the same day. So I still get the shit beat out of me. Man, oh, my neck already hurts just looking at that.
Hey, when so there was this, when they were doing the Mayhem broadcast, at the end, the last workout, I heard Angelo and Rich talking about the workout. And they're like, have you done this one? And they're like, oh, I did a 20-40-20. Remember, it was the 30-30-30 one. And then someone else was like, oh, I did a 40-20-40. And then I'm listening. I'm like, no one's ever fucking done this workout.
You were.
I'm like,
now hang on.
These motherfuckers, these fucking crazy fucks programmed something that was televised, that was qualifying people for the games that they saw. Did I pick that up right? They saw that happen for the first time?
Yeah. I can't say that they didn't do it. I can say a lot of these are also plays on workouts that we have done in the past, whether it was with.
Yeah, Rich has done every workout. He's like done every chest move. Yeah, right?
Yeah. So a lot of that is just experience, like, but the last one, it's like you can test that one all you want. You're still not going to get the same stimulus than you would out there on the competition floor. And you put $3,000 on the line. That's a completely different workout at that point.
Okay. So you're saying, hey, dude, don't be stupid. Rich knows everything. He knows the time domains. He knows the workouts. Just because you don't project onto Rich.
When you have done like a workout like that, you want that hot, heavy CrossFit athlete that is just fresh on the block, that wants to prove themselves, testing that workout out, who is just naive to the game. If you've been doing this for years, you know exactly how hard that workout, or how bad that workout is going to hurt. Like, you know, that's just something like you like look at and it's just hard to give. Like, that's just like me hopping on a bike and trying to do a 50 cal echo as fast as I can. If I was naive and never done the bike before, hell yeah, I would try and shoot bolts out of that thing. Now I don't want to hurt that bad.
Like Roman did. Roman went crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, some of these, I'm sure you're like, okay, I have a great idea of how, or like time frame wise, or how these should go.
Is Rich trying to compete to go to the CrossFit Games again?
I don't know, Savant. Everybody always asks me that.
Something weird's going on. Something weird's going on. He did the open. He got a wild hair up his ass. Now there's talks he's going to do the semifinal workouts.
Could you, man? I couldn't fathom being in his head like right now when you're probably thinking in the back of your mind that you still got it, which he does, obviously, because he's still super fit. He proves it every single year. But it's like, you know what it took to get to the top.
Yeah.
Like you went through those grinds and now you're like, am I willing to go through that again X amount of years later?
He's
like,
old
you know,
now. He's old. He's old. But Hiller went out there and he's like, hey, dude, I saw, and now I know what some people see. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, you can't even explain it.
You can't, man. Like when that guy walks in, that guy gets caffeinated by walking into his own gym and just breathing in the air. Like it is crazy. Like when you just see, like he could be having the worst day, waking up, feeling like shit. It's got all this, you know, stuff he's taking, just trying to get, you know, the snot from pouring out of his nose. Then he walks in his gym. It's like a glow hits him, you know, and he's just glowed up and all of a sudden he's just ready to go.
He's like one of those old dudes that you see playing racquetball who's like 70 pounds overweight and he's just destroying people in the racquetball court. And you're like, and then he walks out and he's got his walker. And you're like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You see that at the tennis courts too. Old dudes crushing playing tennis, and then they walk to their car and they walk like they're 100. I'm like, dude.
You're like, nice try, buddy. I know exactly what you're doing.
So you're saying that those movements, he goes in the gym and those movements like make him young.
I mean, you know, he says it all the time. He feels better when he's working out. And I know that's like, you know, that's a statement that like everybody makes. They like, but I truly like his body goes back into its natural state as soon as he starts moving. I mean, I showed up there, and again, I just do one workout a day, 5 days a week. When I show up there, I know that I'm going to be working out 3 to 4 times with potentially a bike ride mixed in, very, very minimal food. Okay. Anything like that. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to train just to go down there, just to hang out.
Right.
It's annoying.
And you're not joking.
No, I'm not. I'm not. That's the part that pisses me off too, because I want to be the old guy here soon, sitting on the porch, on the rocking chair, reminiscent about the good days, and like, hey, you know, let's go ride a bike and bench.
Right.
Instead, no, it's like, let's go ride a bike. Let's dumbbell bench. Let's do strict rope climbs. Let's do muscle ups and bar muscle ups in the same workouts. Like, what the fuck? What the hell are we doing?
So you don't rule it out. Like if he's saying, I heard through the grapevine, maybe he said it publicly, but I heard through the grapevine he's going to do semifinal workouts. And you think that if he accidentally qualifies, he can show up to the games?
If that son of a bitch, he says some stupid things because he knows damn well that he could qualify. But I have said it even back in the day, and I'm saying this on here, and I hope he doesn't watch it because I'm not trying to kiss his ass, because I'll never do that. But back in the day, like when people would always ask, hey, if Rich came back and like competed against Matt, would he win? I'll say the same thing today. Rich would still win the CrossFit Games. Like, I mean, it would be rough. It would be, we would be pushing him around in a wheelchair. We'd have to get all of his, we'd have to get all of his financial stuff like lined up at, you know, prior. So make sure that the will is good. But
what would his chick say? What would his wife say?
Oh gosh. I mean, Hillary would support him. Like there would definitely be the back end, you know, or like the comments, but in the end, like she knows how much that he loves it. I mean, obviously the guy won't stop. I mean, the guy at his house has like 3 gyms It's like he can work out anywhere he could step into any room and be able to work out at any point. Who has that that's retired? You know?
And he is retired from bike racing.
He's not retired from bike racing. He's still we're doing a 24-hour challenge coming up, mountain bike ride, and it's gonna kickstart, and he'll want to be the best at that. It never stops, Savon. It doesn't.
You don't think he's retired from that? I always saw that video, that last Ledbetter video, and he's like, okay, I'm good. I got it. I figured I'm done. No.
He said no. I mean, I don't know if he'll do the full Leadville race individually. There is one that he is going to do that is broken up into sections that he can do on a team. So I definitely think that he'll still be part of that. But I also think a part of me, the very first year that he did it, he did better. The second year, he did a lot worse. And I mean, with something like that, you go into it a little bit naive. You don't know how bad it's going to hurt. You know, you kind of just catch lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And then the second time through, you know how bad it's going to hurt. You know the pain that you got to go through. And I think it just kind of got to him a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe a year off. And then he's like, hey, I kind of want to go out on a high note here.
Or like he forgets, like you forget how much it hurts.
Yeah, exactly. Just crazy. He's jackass.
It would be fucking nuts if he went to the games.
CrossFit would love it. Media wise, yeah, that's I mean, like, that's a dream. I mean, you know,
that would be bonkers.
Oh my gosh. And
do you think it tarnishes his legacy at all if he goes there and gets 5th place?
Hell no.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think so either. Not even a little bit.
Even if he, I mean, what are they? Man, I haven't looked. I don't know if it's going to be a 20 athlete race or what, but anywho,
30 guys.
30. Okay.
30
so
gals,
30.
Yep.
Even if he finishes in the top half, I mean, you know, hell, I mean, I would say that's still pretty unfreaking believable. And then heaven forbid he podiums or wins it. That's like, all right, what are we doing here, people?
He would set all sorts of records if he went, like probably like the oldest guy to compete in the modern era, highest win. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Highest place. It would either, no matter what, if he, you know, if let's say he wins an event, he'd be the oldest guy ever to win an event again. I mean, there would be like 10 records he would set that would never get broken.
He would literally be that guy in sports who, you know, you can tell may have lost a step, slowed down a little bit, but it would turn more into a legit chess match of like placement, because, you know, his strength obviously is not as high as it used to be. His endurance and obviously still movement is still pretty good, but he would definitely have to be a lot more strategic than he's ever been. Probably not on the side of, okay, how do I keep a lead, but how do I stay close enough to where I can make those jumps here and there. But it would be, I would be a mental wreck. I don't know if I'm fit enough to even just be back there.
Hey, would you be a mental wreck? I know we've talked about it before, but there was I don't remember what year it was, but there was a year at the games in Madison. We were in the warm-up area. Rich was had his back up against one of the beams on the rig. I think like Ben Smith and Quant were there, just kind of like pulling down. Josh was there, yeah. And Rich was like, I'm guessing he was in a dark spot. He basically just got quiet, and you were just fucking just talking shit to him the whole time. It was some pretty funny shit. Were you a train wreck and you just hit it?
No. I was honestly, I believe that was after the 333, or maybe the next event after, or no, he had just missed out on the squat clean ladder.
I don't remember it all. I just remember the moment, and I'm like, wow, this is some crazy shit. Rich isn't going to win. I was thinking Rich isn't going to win this year, and he's processing that right now in front of us.
He had multiple bad events. I want to say that it was after the squat clean sprint, where where it cut athletes after every single one, and he got cut the very first one because he tripped up or something like that. So I think after that, like, one, he was pissed off, which is scary enough, because going into the next event, I want to say it was that crazy, whatever they called it. It was like a DT thing, but with clean snatches. And then the progression on the pull-up bar went up, or you did a gymnastic complex of pull-ups, chest to bar, bar muscle ups. And I think for him, knowing what the next event was and how pissed off he was, I was just trying to like keep the mood again, somewhat light, so he wouldn't just like shut down. I mean, not that I've ever seen him do it, but I didn't know like what to expect there. But I mean, Rich is Rich. He's gonna lock in. He's gonna go out there. And I think Hobart, when that workout happened, Hobart went out first and did it, and also came back and he said to Rich, "Go faster than you think." And Rich went out there and went balls to the wall and blew it out of the water. It was nuts.
He did these this whole series of videos
where he's going back and talking about them.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I like those.
And this one video he did here, I'm sure I can't find it, but this one video he did, he talks about crossing the finish line. And I think it was the last time he won, and he described it. I wish I could find the exact video so I don't take his.
It's probably down just a little more with it, but
event 3. Oh, here it is. It was double grace. That was the final workout. Okay, check this out. Watch what he says here. I think it's this one. Watch what he says here at the end.
Sunglasses, that bastard.
I guess a lot of emotions going into that final event, playing a game of like, hey, I got to stay ahead of Matt. Once I knew that I was on a safe distance rep number away from Matt, I'm listening to my judge. I'm listening to his judge. But then out of the corner of my ear or out of my corner of my eye, I could see Jason. Jason notoriously went out hot before he did. And knew and saw that I could kind of catch him. So I was like, might as well finish this thing off right. And then it was just the kind of like completion, I guess, just kind of moment of like, oh, that's it. It's done.
That moment, it's done.
Family right there, having Lakeland there, Bill, parents, all that kind of down there on the floor was pretty special. But just that, like, man, it's relief more than anything. Yeah, it's cool, like to celebrate, but more of like a relief, especially with the up and down, how that weekend had gone. But just like knowing that was it on the career.
So he knew that was his last games? I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah. He didn't tell me that, so I instantly thought that I was out of the job. But yeah, I mean, again, put yourself into his shoes. It's like probably going into that games, he's probably thinking that this is it. And he may have mentioned it a time or two or something like that in training, like, hey, this is like my last year. But I'm pretty sure he probably said it the year before that. He may have even said it like the year before that. It's just like, yeah, okay, Rich, sure. And honestly, like when he got done though, and it was all over, he was still working out just as much. Like that was the thing. It's like you didn't know it was over until the CrossFit Games happened, and he wasn't there individually. He was there on a team at that point. But it's like that's like when I finally realized, okay, that part of his life is done. Because I'm like, I'm not going to believe you because you said this or you've done things like this before. And then all of a sudden, you're texting us or, hey, get up the mountain, or, hey, come over. We're doing this.
I don't remember. One year he was going team and he slept in the back of the motorhome in the in a shitty little bed up in a little cubby during doing team competition. And he came on the podcast like one of the days, and I'm like, how's everything going? He goes, I slept like shit or something. And I go, oh, why is that? Because of your bed? He goes, no, the bed's great. And I was like, oh, what happened? He goes, I just up all night visualizing and thinking about the workouts. And at that point, I'm like, I have no idea what it's like to be Rich Froning.
Yeah.
Like he's just up at night preparing the workouts in his head as he goes to sleep. I'm like, I fucking know it. Like I've never done that with anything except like maybe like, how am I going to tell my wife like I fucking spilled grape juice on her favorite purse? You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yes.
I mean, it's like I don't have any. Are the cops pull me over, and how am I going to tell my parents that I was drunk driving? Like I don't have any. Like I never stayed awake visualizing some success.
And especially at that point too, it's like that's the part again when people want to argue the Matt thing. Matt is unbelievable. great, phenomenal CrossFitter. He'll always be second best just in my head, and stuff. But people still, they don't talk about how hard that must have been from being the most dominant in your sport, and you decide to let go of the reins and go team wise to where you can't control the outcome. You are putting that trust into 5 other athletes, whatever. Obviously he put that trust from, in me, and I ruined it for the year he got second. But at the same time,
you were on the team the only year he got a second.
Yeah. Thank you. You didn't have to laugh about it, you jackass.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That medal.
You were the DEI hire, buddy. You were the cousin. You were the family DEI hire.
I was the freaking Make-A-Wish kid that was on Froning's Froning's team. But like, seriously, that to me, yeah. I have to think about it like that. It's like, I could see why, like, you would lose sleep, because like you can't control that. You can't just quit even like if you wanted to, because one, you're fighting for other people, which is why that I tell people, because everybody's like, oh, you're on team, that's easy. I go, it's a different type of hard, because again, you're trusting others to do their job, and you have all that on you to do your job as well. It's hard. It's a lot.
It sounded like exhausting when he talked about the staying up all night visualizing. Patrick Clark, good morning, Patrick. Darren, what was the biggest lesson learned from coaching Paige Powers? A favorite memory as her coach? God, I love Paige. I hope she gets back at it. Well, she seems to be.
Paige was so much fun. Favorite memory of her, man, I would say when she first started working out with JJ and I give her all the credit. Like, she didn't know us. We got in a contact when we were down at Mayhem. Like, we had met at Mayhem, like, as far as like, hi, so and so, but she was living in Michigan at the time, and I was moved back, and she wanted to train with us, or, things like that. And I was like, yeah, show up at JJ's barn. You can come work out with us.
Were you annoyed a little bit? Like, no, sorry.
I was honestly nervous. Because again, for me, worked out with guys and stuff, and I'm like, oh, there's this younger girl that wants to come, work out with us.
Really young.
Yeah, exactly. Really young. It's like, I don't know what, as far as personality wise, I don't want anything, as far as, that like people are like going to see and they're like, oh, what's this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but when she like showed up, oh my gosh, like it was almost like she like fit in like right away. Like we were giving her hell. She was giving it right back. Gosh, like we would, the stuff that we would say was like brother sister type, type stuff, but it was great. Man, my favorite, I'm trying to think though, like memory, like as far as like competing wise, I would say probably the coolest one I saw was at the games. Oh my gosh, am I gonna butcher the year? 2023. So we were still in Madison when it was the long snatch lift where they had 2 attempts at a max snatch, and like they had to go one by one. So 1, 2, 3, this athlete lifts, that moves to the next, and she was like second to last or last. So she had to stand out there for like 20 minutes after warming up in the back and stand out there, and she had to wait. And she's young, in it. And she missed one of her lifts. So, at that point, you're like, oh God, I'm like, what's going to happen? Because the snatch, the hardest thing's mentally getting ready. And she went up and she hit it, like comes around again and she hits it. And it was like one of those things you're like, that's a cool moment. That's a clutch moment. That's things you see where you're like, an athlete's got it. And Paige at that time had it. Like, she dialed it in. She didn't give up. And I love that. And, for everybody else to see who she was.
You see athletes, I don't mean to pick on her because she's a great athlete, but Rebecca Fuselier, and you can kind of see their ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And you see, and sometimes you misjudge, right? And she's doing a good job fighting against those odds. But with Paige, I feel like we never even got to the 60-yard line, like 60%. Like I always thought, oh, like she kind of reminds me of the female Dallin Pepper. Like, oh shit, there's something in there that she's like whittling on. And when that, and it seems to be like all going in the right direction. I was like, man, she's podium bound, this girl. You think, does she still have those aspirations? Are you still in touch with her?
Yeah. Paige, I mean, Paige is still young in the game, obviously having a kid, but it was really cool. And I know that she had talked about it too, but for her to get out there, she obviously, like took class with it, but she finished all the workouts. I mean, like within, reason of them, was able to do all those movements after just a few months of having a child, and being able to walk away from it. She, injury free, or like body feels good. Things, I mean, I think, like things like that. She's still strong. She's still fit. So, and I know for her, she still has something to prove in it. And it's just a whole nother chapter for her now.
Will you
And
be coaching her
hopefully,
again?
what?
Will you be coaching her again?
I'll be helping her if she wants me to.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like if she wants me to carry her bags and like wear the credentials, sure, I will do that again.
It was remarkable what she did. 2 months after she had a kid, to get out there at the Mayhem Classic. But really, Kale Lehman has stolen all the has stolen all the media from her. No one's getting any media from the Mayhem Classic. He stole
It's
it all.
crazy. I mean, I don't know Kale, so I'm not gonna say anything. As far as that, I don't know. It is. I mean, I've always been one of those people. Hey, if somebody's calling you out, prove them wrong. So I'm hoping. I'm hoping that the media is wrong. I'm hoping that the coverage there, as far as like what kind of came out of it, but I don't know, man. I mean, everybody likes a good story, but holy cow.
Hey, some people think the Earth is flat. Wouldn't it be crazy if it really was? I don't know if you saw this post of Andrew Hiller made, but it's pretty interesting. So he made a video on Kale Lehman, the biggest cheater in CrossFit history, and that video's made $700. He then makes a post, "Hey Kale, I'll give you this money if you do 25.3 and under 10."
Man, that is relentless.
Yeah, it is relentless, right?
Wow.
And you know what sucks is I don't care, like just from where I sit, I know I'm not an athlete and a competitor, but like I don't care if Ricky did drugs or not. Like I just like the story. I don't care if Kale cheated or not. I don't think any more or less of them. I accept people in the space. We can fight. We can talk shit. I do hope that he can take this all in good, good humor, or as a lesson to learn from it. The thing I do trip about with Kale though a little bit. I mean, you saw Ricky came forward and he's like, "Yeah, I did it." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Why'd you do it?" "Well, because I wanted to fucking win."
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And,
like, okay,
and I mean, just like real quick, to Ricky's credit, he's fit as fuck. I mean, he is
fit as fuck.
He is fit as hell. He proved it wrong, because of course, when it all happened, I mean, everybody's pissed off. I mean, I was too, but he owned it. He owned it, and he proved everybody wrong. And I love that for him. Everybody loves a good comeback. But go ahead.
You don't think less of him for claiming to be the fittest firefighter, military man? My girlfriend would kick his ass for that alone. It's not. It's just like I wouldn't not. I would still be his friend. Like, I mean, you have kids. Like, he didn't slap a kid. Like, for me, that's like at the end of the day, it's like you're not trying to. He wasn't trying to. He wasn't trying to take food off of anyone's table. He's 23. He's, we've all done some pretty dumb things in our age. This was really dumb, to put yourself in the top 5 in the open and not think that Andrew Hiller wasn't going to show up to your house with the fucking microscope up your ass.
If he, oh gosh,
you know what I mean? I mean, listen, if you're doing CrossFit, you should just expect, just tell the truth. Be like, I didn't have a judge, or I lied by 2 minutes. Just make it easy on Andrew. He's gonna.
I was gonna
come
say,
over
yes, make it easy on him.
Yeah, just make it easy.
You take a little bit of that revenue.
Yeah,
but it's like, I mean, like that's the thing. Like whatever comes out from it, if it does come out he cheated, or if it comes out he doesn't, as long as he owns it. Like if you own it at that point, and then start to try and like mend the wounds. But if you fight it until the day you die, but it comes out, hey, that's where you know, you're gonna constantly be that name. You're gonna be that meme, you know. It's
I
like,
feel sorry for him if he has to keep a secret that long. That's what sucks about lying. You got to keep the secret for that long.
yeah, yeah.
He's
Like I
not a
said,
pro bass fisherman. He's not. If that's fake, that's lame. Have you ever seen his Instagram account? He's like, he claims to be a pro bass fisherman. And he's holding up it's awesome.
my gosh, people, and see but that's the thing about the internet too, is like people, the online detective work that people will go through now to get after, like, oh man, that is tough. It's so tough because you put yourself in these situations. It's, oh man, woo, gives me chills even just thinking about it. Cause I'm like, man, people are gonna start digging just on everybody. Then you start to think, did I do anything wrong?
Oh yes, the answer is yes.
Yes,
Hey,
yeah.
what do you think about all this talk? God, I can't believe I almost let you go without asking this. What do you think about all this talk about Rich being CEO of CrossFit? And
I
just
think it's one of the. I mean, I think it's smart as hell. Or whoever is interested. We always said that there needs to be either a board of athletes, former athletes, or like people involved with it that need to have more or less a lot of the say that goes within the CrossFit community itself. The ones that are the most.
I think the opposite of that, by the way.
Sorry. So are you thinking like one person, like president wise?
Like, here's the thing. I don't think I think Rich is a rare case. I don't think any athlete should have any fucking say in CrossFit. Like, I think for the most part, most of them don't know shit.
Exactly. I don't think
But
any new age.
yeah,
Now,
like Panchek could do it, or Froning
yes.
might be able to do it. But here's the thing. I like Rich because he has values.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want someone with values. Like the other day when I'm starting to see it from Dave again too. Dave did his weekend review and someone's like, "Hey, the level 3 online is stupid," or they said something, and he said on his weekend review, "Hey, fuck you, email me, I'll give you a free one, and then you tell me if it's fucking stupid." You know what I mean? Like that's the CrossFit. Like,
Yeah.
I want the CrossFit, like, if someone said they were gonna be rich, you'd be like, fine, come over to my house. You know what I mean? And we'll fucking see who's,
Yeah. Exactly.
I want someone to be like, hey, no, there is no exception. We squat below parallel. I don't care if Orthopedics of America and 70 PhDs said it's bad for you. Like, I want someone who's, and I think Rich is that guy. But wouldn't that Rich Froning is the leader
Of the Froninites.
Yeah, and he said something else too that kind of tripped me out. He said he would listen to people, and I'm like, oh God, Rich, please don't listen to people. We just want you, you know. And then the other thing he said is he said that he's not sure what he would do with Mayhem because he wouldn't want there to be a conflict of interest. It's like, hey, dude, I don't think that there would be a conflict of interest at all.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you. I'd be anyone who's not happy for you if you sell an extra million T-shirts because you're the CEO now can go fuck themselves. Like get rid of those people.
Yeah.
Like the bigger Mayhem gets, the bigger every affiliate gets. We don't want people who don't realize that all rising tides raise all ships. Like I don't care.
You know, and Rich's style, and I mean, again, I've said it in the past, but I say it again about the old age athletes as well. Think about like when they were like competing, they were at one point early on trying to win for $525,000 or like whatever, but they just wanted the title of being the fittest, of being the best.
Yeah.
And you know, where now it's the clicks, the follow, stuff like that. But that's what I'm like saying for Rich. And I've always told people, I go, he would still try to be champion even if he wasn't being paid, or you know, or like the money wasn't. I'm like, what it is? It's like he just wants to win.
Hey, I'm okay if they do that. I'm okay if they took away all the prize money and just for 1 year just said, hey, we're gonna crown the fittest and see who shows up.
Exactly.
I'm so okay with that.
Oh man, it would be awesome too, because again, you would find the most pure, lifelong sustainable athlete right there that is going to do whatever it takes. And so what I'm saying is, I know Rich, you put him into that type of situation, he would do the job regardless of the money. Like, yeah, like the money is always nice, but I know that if he's in that situation, regardless of what it is,
He loves CrossFit and he wants to do what's best for it, regardless of the money.
Exactly.
It's like saving a drowning child. Like, you don't got to pay him to do it. If he sees it, he's jumping in with all his clothes on and getting the kid.
Yeah. That's, I mean, that's the truth for it and stuff. And like when there's always the rumors and stuff and people are like, oh, Froning, like you should buy CrossFit. Well, the reality of it, CrossFit's super expensive, but if there's somebody willing to put Rich in that spot as far as being the face of it,
It could break him. It could. It
could.
It could break anyone. I mean, we see it. We see it breaks people all the time. I mean, it fucking broke.
We see it almost every other year.
I mean, it broke Rosa in half.
Like, geez, oh, Pete, I know. And like, that's also the hard thing too. It's like, if it's not Rich, then who else? I don't want to see it go through another 2-year cycle, where it's just changing hands constantly, because again, then it's always going to be the saying, the inconsistency of CrossFit, and it's the truth.
Do you remember when F45 called out Rich?
F45, Wahlberg.
And then instead of Rich going to compete for their championship, Ronnie Teasdale went. And he beat them, and he took the 50 grand from them. They called out Rich, and Ronnie showed up and beat their champ.
They're like, damn it. Oh my gosh.
Rich could pull off jorts. Rich could pull off jorts.
Like, dude, that's just, again, yeah, I won't ever understand it. Wait, did F45, it didn't shut down, but didn't they have a massive like lawsuit going on too?
I don't know what happened to them.
Or there was something. Did I see something like with David Beckham too, like that they got into because he wanted X amount of money for them doing this thing, or they were trying to say he was doing it. I don't know. I thought I saw something.
I wonder how I'm typing in F45 news. How much does F45 cost? Here's membership breakdown. F45 launches first ever national recommitment to fitness day. I competed F45 challenge. F45 launches. I don't see anything about them being broke, but
okay.
Okay. Any of these fitness things that I see celebs, like I think Tom Brady had a fitness company. I have to assume that's going to fail too. Anytime I see any of these guys do stuff, I just think I feel like it just looks like an investment to them.
Yeah,
I don't sense it's real to them.
I was going to say, and it's all the same stuff. They just try and spruce it up with a fancy video, or, or like they just put their name behind it. And yeah, sure, people will buy in for a little bit because of their name and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, kills me.
I run an F45 gym. What do you want to know?
Everything.
Where are the chicks hotter? F45 did bankruptcy. Miss Sarah Cox. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Always good to see you.
There we go. Okay. Usually like when I read a headline, or usually like when I read some, I just read the headline and I use that as my news. I don't even read into the article.
Yeah, that's enough.
It makes for a lot better conversations.
Yeah.
Because then I can argue with them.
I mean, are you coaching now?
Am I coaching?
Yeah.
Like as far as like class settings?
Just anyone. Are you coaching
anyone?
No.
It's weird. Like that it was weird walking around the classic, because I felt useless, but it's like I'm standing there and I'm watching, I'm taking it all in. Like we did stuff prior, like with the affiliates, but during the classic, I was just spectating. It was such a weird
that's
thing.
How I feel if I show up somewhere without a camera. I know exactly what you're saying. If I don't have a purpose at an event, it's like, what am I doing here? I
know, that's where I was like, wow. I mean, it was great to be able to see it, but at the same time, it's like you know like what you started in, like what like got you there.
Hey, when you and Rich started CrossFit for the first 6 months, you guys did it barefoot?
We tried, yes.
And what finally convinced you to put shoes on? Was it double?
Because the rocks and everything effing hurt.
Oh, like when you would run.
Yeah. I mean, like stuff like that. Yeah. I think Rich bought a pair of Vibrams. Remember those, like the 5 fingers?
Yeah.
Yep. Had a pair. He was wearing those.
He started getting attracted to men and took them off.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so I didn't have any money, so I was wearing an old pair of Rich's Asics. And then I think Rich went to Chuck Taylor's. We tried those for a little bit, and then that's when he decided to get cool and talk to Reebok.
But it did start off 6 months of barefoot.
Pretty much, yeah. I would say at least maybe 3 to 6 months. Yeah.
And double unders too.
Double under, well, yeah, but also at that time, remember, double unders were like foreign. You know, it's like if you could do 10 in a row with like a beaded jump rope, you were pretty good. So yeah. That's fun.
I go through these phases where I get really disgusted by machines, and I see machines at competitions, and like I can get into this headspace where it invalidates the whole competition for me. I can be like, fuck the bike, fuck the rower, especially fuck the skier. Like these are just like, this is like putting your car on a dyno and testing out how many horsepower it has. It's like, it's just stupid to me. I can get into these really like negative spaces around machines. I heard you saying in a podcast that when you guys started, there weren't machines. So if you had if you guys wanted to get your heart beat up, it was just on the side, you'd fucking knock out a Cindy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seriously, that was true. That was one of the things like you like look back on, because now that I'm older, again, I talk about how I warm up. I hop on a machine and I get the
I live
flowing.
on a machine. Yeah, I live on the bike now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's not now I think of back then, just like you said, if I wanted to get warmed up, it was double unders, burpees, or it was things like that. When I watch a when I watch a CrossFit competition, yeah, when you start to see, if it's a 6 workout competition, if I see more than 2 workouts with the machine, that's where I get lost. That's where I'm like, all right, you are losing a lot of you are losing a good true test of fitness if you're just overwhelming all these workouts like with like machines. Now, for the everyday athlete who's just, working out in a gym, again, a machine is great because it can take a lot of the load off, where you can still get a good workout in. Because if you ground and pound, the 9 to 5 athlete every single day with barbell, body weight, things like that, they're going to burn out. Their body's going to get fried. But if you can
machines, I could throw machines. You just convinced me to throw machines are a gimmick.
They are. Okay.
Like a machine is something you take onto the fucking International Space Station just to get your heart rate up. You know what I mean? Because there's nowhere to run. But
I will say this, and I will say this. I want to say, okay, they're not necessarily a gimmick. They can get gimmicky within a workout setting, but I will say one of the best machines, or one of the best workouts you can get, I will die for an Echo bike. Like if you
I hear you, but God, here we go. I think I throw grips in there too.
You would throw what?
Grips.
Yeah,
more and more I think about grips. Like I've never used grips, but I've been watching videos where people are talking about grips, and these grip companies, like I saw this ad for a grip company recently.
Well, the grips are crazy now though.
And they just show the person just put it up there and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm stuck." And at that point I'm like, I mean, you remember back in the day, you were a pussy if you used split grip in deadlift.
Oh my gosh.
You remember that? It was like, hey dude.
Yeah.
Split grip for pussies, make your grip stronger.
Dude. And then, of course, like when you started actually making your own grips, you would do the whole 20, 30-minute ordeal of doing all the tape and getting it set up.
That one was a little different because that was to protect your hand from tearing, but now it's turned into sticking to the bar, right?
Well, yes. But then you could also understand that the grip itself actually kept chalk on it, which in the long run would help you stick to the bar better. That was kind of the idea, was with the original tape grips, you had to make them long enough to actually create the flap. That's the part people never understood with the early stages of grips, is they would just use them to protect their hands. Really, no, you were creating the early stages of a vice. You were literally flapping it over, putting all the pressure to the wrist now rather than the hand itself. And like that was like the big secret. Like when like you're making your tape grips, or Rogue came out with the cloth ones, and you get them extra large instead of large. Because, they always would like go through the sizing. They're like, oh, I'm a large. Well, take it a size up, because now you get the extra flap to go over top. And then now it's more pressured here.
You just reminded me, I would say for the first 3 years I did CrossFit, I started every workout where I would do 25 burpees. and then my partner would do 25 burpees, and we would do that 4 rounds, and that would be and that's how we warmed up. There was no, like, it was unheard of for there to be a machine.
Yeah, yep. There was when Rich got big into or when Rich really, after the first year when he took second, I think that next year he started rowing. He was rowing like 4,000 to 5,000 meters a day. Like every
Wow.
single day he would sneak down into his basement or something, or, you know, after workout, interval wise or straight through, just to, that's what machines are good for, is building capacity. Like, you know, because like you can get on those
Interesting, because
things.
that was Miko's secret weapon too.
I
Interesting,
know.
right?
Well, and so what's funny is that was the
The
video
rower.
that Rich watched, because Rogue or CrossFit, you guys put out that video on him after
I'm
he
sure
had
it was
won.
me, Darren. I'm sure it was
It
me.
had to be you, because there was multiple bikes in the background too. Yeah, that was it. But yeah, I actually remember that, because when we watched that video, then all of a sudden I noticed Rich was rowing a lot more, and then I started to figure it out. But yeah,
Yeah, the rower. I would say the least gimmicky of all the machines is the rower. It's a fucking savage.
it is. It is a savage, and in the right workout, in a competition, I wouldn't necessarily call it a throwaway movement. Sometimes I would say, I mean, there have been some like longer workouts. It can be a throwaway movement because you just get on and, you know, the erg's just moving itself at that point, pacing. But yeah, if you do it right, hit it right, just like all that stuff, works
Hey,
good.
so that semifinals workout where Colton Merton showcased his running, it was the 600-meter run, the
Yeah.
185-pound clean and jerks, 5 rounds. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that would have been rowing instead of running,
Completely different
that would have
workout.
been so lame. But instead, we got to see Colton, who had worked on his running,
Yeah.
showcase that fucking talent. It's so much better as a fan to watch them actually not on machines, because they could have easily have done it rowing and clean and jerks. That was
And
so much better.
and again, the beautiful thing about running is that's a lot of, you know, that's a lot of true athletic stuff, because you're having to weave between people. You have to actually read pacing, like as you're moving, gauging your distance. Like when you're rowing, you don't have none of that. You're just eyes forward. You may glance at a monitor here and there, but it's like you don't know who's, you know, and it's like it kind of kills like a lot of the strategy, because you're just blinded, you know. That's like that's what I loved about those longer runs in there, because you could see athletes legitly make up ground or lose ground in it, and you can do time frames too.
Yeah, it was crazy. Him and Fikowski were the back of the pack.
Yeah,
That was like one of the best workouts I've ever watched, most enjoyable.
you know, if people, and I said it, I think at the beginning of this podcast, but if people haven't really dug into Colton Mertens, I actually watched a lot of his YouTube stuff now, because like I said, I'm so sick and tired of watching the same shit over and over as far as the CrossFit lifestyle. I really enjoy watching his stuff. I mean, I like seeing a person that gets up, works, does something different, works out afterwards, fixes things, whatever, tinkers, because it's like that to me is everyday things. And I
Fucking
love that.
nuts. He's fucking nuts, dude. When
He is.
last
He's
year
an
when he was
animal.
training for bike training, he was riding his bike on this fucking highway in the middle of fucking Iowa. And it's just
Yeah.
pig trucks and dangerous fucking farm equipment going by him. And he's riding his bike early in the morning to work to get in his bike training, and then hosing down pig, and then riding back, hosing down pig barns, and then riding back. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, even I'm at that point is like, okay, that's too real, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts. It's
Like, I
like,
don't want you getting hit by a fucking car.
I mean, you know, that's a person that potentially or could or has every excuse of why they shouldn't be necessarily good. But at the same time, they're on the flip side of it, where it's like, no, all those reasons is what makes them good. I mean, they're hard ass workers. Like they know how to put the time in, and you know, they don't let it all pile up, which I love. I love
Did you
that.
get to hang with him at the Mayhem Classic?
You know, I didn't. And he's so, you know, I don't know him really at all. And I know you're obviously a fan of him. I mean, so I don't know like what, you know, how to approach like somebody like that, you know, if I would make him mad. So it's like a lot of those I just kind of wait, you know, like for the time being. I mean, I may introduce myself like here and there, but yeah, super fit dude. And he seems awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. last year at the NorCal Classic, we rented a big house and a bunch of us stayed in it. And it was it was so fun.
Oh, that'd be a blast.
Oh my God. It was
I love
so
that.
fun. It was so funny. And, you know, he was the star athlete there in the house, but he got this fucked up room on the second floor in the air condition. It was the master bedroom.
Yeah, you're telling that story. Yeah.
It was the master bedroom, is the best bedroom, but the air conditioner in the house was broken. So we all fucking went down as a team to CVS, and we bought a bunch of fans, and we tried to make this row of fans that would blow cold air up into the sun. It was so fucking ridiculous.
That's awesome, man. That is cool. I know. And I love getting athletes outside of CrossFit because, you know, like in a lot of settings or just anything, like you find out a lot about people like when shit hits the fan, but also you find out a lot about those athletes when you get them out of their element. And some of them are great. Like they're so much fun. They're, you know, to me, it makes them so much more enjoyable because now you know what they're really like. You know, in a gym setting, like I said, people can kind of have different personalities in it, or, you know, nowadays you just never know, but to get them outside is so great.
Yeah, it was really cool. And, you know, he said something that was really flattering too. Later on, I heard him on a podcast and he said that was the most fun he ever had at a competition. And I kind of was like, I felt like the house setting took credit for that. Because, you know, it was every day at night, we just all sat around on the couch and chopped it up. And then every morning we all went outside in the backyard and you got to see who was scared of bees and who would just pee in front of everyone. And
remember though, that used to be one of the big comments, like when you would do the videos on like Rich, like when you come into our like hotel room and there's 20 people, the place is a mess.
Dude sharing beds.
Yeah, dude. I know, but like seriously, but it's like we had so much fun, you know. And then you think of the other side, like Dan would get so mad at us because, you know, he'd go knock on his room, it'd just be him in there. He'd be all by himself, and you know, it's. I mean, I could never understand it because when you're alone like that, all those thoughts, everything. But it's like when you're surrounded by people, it takes your mind off of things. You can relax a little bit, you know.
Back on the Colton thing, here's another interesting thing too. We've seen a lot of athletes come and go, and a lot of athletes make excuses, right? I'm too tall. I'm too short. I don't have a sponsor. You never hear that shit from him. Never. Not even never. You just hear, fuck you, I'm going to beat you.
Dude, I know. I know. Like I said, that's a guy that has a lot of excuses he could use, and he doesn't. And I love that. I really do. You know, and
it's an inspiration. It's an inspiration because then you can't make any excuses for yourself.
No, and that's the part that pisses me off half of it. Like when I see people who have the excuses, don't use them. It's like, well, shit, now I can't, you know, I mean, I can't use these.
Yeah.
It's great. It's crazy.
Are those all Rich's shoes?
Yes, none are mine. So these ones these top two rows, this is the Froning line. So so from the first one, I don't know if you remember when they first released this one, it's when Reebok and the whole Kevlar stage came out.
Yep.
So if you got shot or if somebody tried to shoot you in the foot, you were okay.
Yep.
For some crazy reason.
Yep. Important.
Yep. Super important when you're on the streets. And then the next one, that's the firefighter edition one. So that's that's 3131. I think there's only 313 of those made. And then the Froning 2s, 3s, these are the best ones. If anybody has those are gold. And then the latest one's down.
There was one pair that I feel like I don't see there. Let me see that one where there was only 313. Let me see that one. I wonder if there was one that I had. Let me see the top of it. Nope, I didn't have that one. Let me see that. Let me see the American flag one, 2 down from it.
Right here?
Yeah. Let me see the top of that.
Fours. So these are the ones that he wore USA or when they would do the what was it called? USA and when
the Invitational.
Yeah, the Invitational.
There was one that was the fucking coolest looking ones. I don't see them up there, but I couldn't wear them because it was the only time I ever had this problem with the shoe. The tongue was so tight.
Huh. I
The top,
wonder.
this top part of my foot here
Yeah.
was
So
was too thick, and I was like, this is fucked up.
dude, so that was actually early on in my career of this. So Hobart at the time when he was living in Cookville, he was his shoe size was the national test size. So Reebok, he worked for Reebok in the past, so they would send him shoes to test out. Well, I was a 10, but again, I wasn't making any money or at least enough. But Hobart would always be like, hey, if you want these shoes, I'm all done with them. So I would have all these shoes, size 9. I'd squeeze my foot in them and work out. And it effed me up for years. For years.
That's real poverty.
But yeah. See, now these ones, these were my all-time favorites. They're beat to hell, but these were the Nano 3, like high top ones. And they won't make them. I'm a sucker for high top. These are ones Senior always wore these. Always had the cigarette and the
Those
beer.
look like something. Yeah, those look like something Senior would wear.
I'll say.
That's the only manly pair of Reebok shoes ever made.
Yeah, it is. That's it. Those are, I always call them the senior editions because that's how I always remember him at the competitions. But yeah, this is all the fruits of Rich's labor here, and I just get to sit and just look at it.
I keep thinking I'm going to let you go, but I got another question for you. So Rich was very stayed relevant for whatever reason, whether he wanted to or didn't want to, but he won the games all those years. And then he opened and he had the affiliate and he trained a lot of, big name athletes came and went, and then he won the team, went team 5 years in a row or 6 years in a row, whatever that was. And so he always stayed relevant, and he never lost his relevancy. And to be honest, the only other person I can think of who kind of stayed relevant also would be like Josh Bridges. I would say that everyone else, and he took a different, and he never won the games, but he took a different path. Do you think, and it looks like, I don't know what's going on with Matt. Matt doesn't seem to be in the limelight at all. All the photos of HWPO always look like it's empty. They don't get a lot of good press over there. Athletes have come and gone. So it seems like maybe that is his incredible feat of winning 5 games is waning. Now we're going to see Tia retire. I think I don't think she's, I think athletes want to stay relevant. It's a great income doing what they love doing, right? At least theoretically. Do you think that if she pivots to Hyrox, she can stay relevant like Rich stayed relevant? Like if she wins the Hyrox World Championships a couple times?
Yeah, so I actually thought about this the other day when I saw Tia's post. Amazing.
Oh yeah, Jason Khalipa. Jason Khalipa stayed. He stayed in the limelight, but it's weighing quite a bit. He's almost having another resurgence now.
Yeah, and I would say within the following side, Josh Bridges definitely capitalized well. Super fit, still awesome, still a great human being. You got the pan checks, and you also have like the Ben Smiths, who stayed relevant as far as workout wise. I know for them, they're not high up in the media realm of it all, but my thought on Tia is, and again, I don't know, I haven't talked to her about it as at all, but think of it like this. If she is as good as she supposedly is in Hyrox, like she went in, won that doubles, championship.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Made
set a world record. Set the world record in doubles.
Yeah. And do you know what was the payout of that? Did she make?
I don't know. I'm guessing 10 grand.
Okay, all right. Well,
but a massive audience. But a massive audience who she could sell programming to.
But think about this. It's like I would much rather, if I was at her level and Rich's, I would much rather train for Hyrox and get paid than to train and try and win the CrossFit Games if I knew, because of the wear and tear and the beat down, the physical, ness that it takes to be the best CrossFitter, to me is way beyond what it takes to be the best at Hyrox.
Right. It's just a CrossFit workout. You cherry pick a CrossFit workout.
Exactly. And here's the thing,
really good at it. Yeah.
You know what you're training for every single time. The elements will always be the same. So the stress on that definitely drops there. And I'm not saying Hyrox athletes are not great athletes by any means. I can argue that they're not, but at the same time, So, I mean, if she sees this as a source of, hey, I can still be competitive because she still likes to win and still make money, well, then, yeah, I mean, for her, it's smart because if she's already the best at it, or yeah, total prize purse. So first
First
place.
place is 25, so that means doubles must be
And
like half that, right? I mean, 10,000 at the most.
yeah, so okay, so like that's the world championship. So let's just say you do one of these. I don't know. I mean, could you say you could do any of the ones once a month, once every
But
other month? I don't know what the circuit is.
But Darren, if she wins the world championships in Hyrox, I think it gives CrossFit a lot of clout. It's like, holy shit, that makes sense. It's just a CrossFit workout. But if she could sell another 5,000 people her programming, her Hyrox programming
Yeah.
at $50 a month, that's
Yeah.
another what is $250,000 a month?
No, and I mean that's crazy. I mean that's crazy smart, about it as well. But I see Hyrox like a Spartan race. I think
Like in
Hyrox
3
will
years,
have
it's
its
just
time.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Me
I
too. Me
mean,
too. Me too.
I 100% think you got to capitalize on it. Like when it's there, it's not something that's just grab me. I mean, it kind of goes against a lot of the things that I've believed in my whole CrossFit life or fitness life, as far as, you gotta be ready for anything, train for the unknowable, lifting weights, moving large loads, long distance, quickly, efficiently, all that stuff. I think, yeah. So I don't know how long that the time frame is going to be. I think it needs to adapt down the road because I do think that it will start to fade.
2024 champions, the relay event, which included a doubles element, had a total prize purse of 20,000. The winners got $5,000 for the doubles. So you're definitely not doing that for the money, but there's shitloads of people, I'm sure,
There's
who
a
would pay
ton.
for her training.
Yeah, I was gonna say there is a ton of people, but this is the other thing too. It's like when you write a program for this now, obviously, you got to make sure that it works and stuff. But to me, that's just like a one-time program. You write it up, and if it works, it's like you're training for the same thing every single time.
Right.
So it's like, how do you keep revising like that program? Because if you got the good recipe and it's working, you're seeing results, you're getting better. It's like a lot of it's just putting in the time.
Hey, if of the Mayhem athletes that just come to your mind, if like Rich said, if let's say Rich got all the Mayhem athletes together, he's like, hey, we got to send one of you guys on a special mission. You got to go win the Hyrox World Championship. So, which one? And we're going to choose him. Who would or her? Who would you choose?
I choose Roman.
Roman. Send Roman over there just to
Yeah.
get that and bring. Hey, Roman, go get that and bring that home. Put that up in the barn.
I would say crazy engine. And I mean, when the guy, obviously you put money on the line for him, he goes. That's a whole.
Dear Scott Vandersloot, great project. It can be a comedy. Rich Froning knocks on Roman's door and tells him he has a new assignment. Then you start the whole journey and film him. Sponsored by Mayhem. Give him $100,000 to do it or whatever. Increase the affiliate fees for everyone by $2.
Oh my gosh.
And send Roman over there to bring that motherfucker home.
Do you remember, Savannah?
Hey, dude, it's a great video idea, don't you think? He's so funny.
What was the one you did? Pulling John.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, like that was you, right? You went, you went and lived overseas, correct? With the Russian?
With the Russians. I did all that stuff. Yeah, I went to the Russians and the Ukrainians. And
I love, that was one of my all-time favorites. I remember
the guy's bench pressing 1,000 pounds on the leg press machine.
Yeah, and then him sitting there like with the three guys holding onto his arm trying to pull it, and he's holding back. I go, holy cow! But yeah, something like that. Ooh.
A Roman can't run with those top guys. Dude, listen. Think about if Roman was 10 pounds lighter too, he would fucking run like he already is a great runner.
Dude, and his engine, here's the thing, Roman may not be able to run just yet, but his work on the ski, on the row, on the wall balls, on the sled, on the burpees, On the lunges, it's like all that stuff is him.
His engine's massive.
His engine's massive.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, he could lose weight. It's not a strength bias program or workout.
No, I'm not standing. I just have my hands on my hips. I love my chair.
What kind of chair do you got? Because I'm actually in the process of looking for one.
Greg got it for me. Greg got it for me.
Greg got it for me. Yeah. He's like, hey, you want a bike in this chair? Ooh.
I don't know what it is. You know what happened? He had ordered a bunch for his house, and he had like one too many. He's like, hey, take that box out of here. I'm like, no problem. I brought right to my house. But it is so. The people are like, hey, your back probably hurts because you sit in this chair. When I wake up in the morning, I can't even fucking move. My back hurts so bad. I come sit in here for 2 hours and I get up and I'm like, oh, I feel so good.
That's like the complete opposite effect then.
Greg supports Sevon's life. This is a true fact. Every pair of underwear I own, Greg bought me. That's a true fact.
That's a man.
Yeah. I've had the same underwear for 10 years. Can you imagine the skid marks on those fucking things?
Can you imagine the holes in the bottom from chafing?
Yeah, also. No, but that's so crazy you say that. Because this morning I had this crazy.
I'm dying to say it.
I had this crazy flashback. You know that spot between like your thigh and where your balls kind of hang?
I know it well.
And then you kind of go under and it's like right where your balls attach to whatever that part of the body is.
Yes.
One time I got like I forget where I was. I was somewhere and it was so dry and I got a cut there, like a paper cut that was like 4 inches long. And it fucking, I had it. I have no idea. It just ripped there or something. You know, the way like your knuckles would rip. And not my taint. It was like off to the right. It's a spot no one talks about. It's like just like like. Have you ever had a cut there? Spot. It's like having a cut in between your fingers. You know, like when you get the. And I was just like, holy fuck, dude. And it was like 4 or 5 months and the fucking thing wouldn't heal. And it was probably like 20 years ago. But I thought about that cut this morning when I was in the shower. I was soaping my nuts and I thought about that spot.
You should I would say if something like that happened to me, I would definitely install a mirror that was on the ground. So when I walk in the bathroom, I would check that spot every time.
I should have just put Neosporin on it. Neosporin is a miracle.
It is for those under ball sack cuts. Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. I'll have a cut and I'll put Neosporin on it and it's gone in a day. If I don't, it's fucking there for a week.
Just imagine, had you known.
You doing any gardening?
Actually, funny you say that. I was just getting the rototiller out. I gotta get ours all tilled up and work so my wife is the gardener.
Oh, so you're getting your vegetable garden ready for the summer?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Gardening.
What about you?
Yeah, I garden like this morning. Before the show, like at 6 a.m., I walked around in the garden for like 20 minutes. My garden is insane, dude.
Do you do chickens too, Savon?
No, I should. I think my wife would be cool with it now. I would say
that's our next thing that I want to get because we eat so much eggs. I mean, which I'm sure you guys probably do as well. It's
Smash eggs.
Dude, we're smashing eggs every single day, and I'm like, gosh, we just need to get chickens.
I for the first time in my life, I don't have a dog right now. Both my dogs died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's so like in a way it's so freeing. I don't have to pick up dog poop. I don't have to worry about stepping in dog poop. I can go away. I can just be like, hey, I'm leaving town for 3 days with my family. There's like just nothing. And I think, oh God, what are chickens going to be like?
I know. Well, and like, I would say from what I've heard, chickens are easier because you just leave them out there and stuff. But yeah, that is something people don't talk about until they don't have it. As far as like a dog or like something like that, because you're like, oh, man's best friend. But when it does happen, the time does come, then you're thinking, man, do I want to restart the puppy stage? Do I want to have, like you said, contact somebody every time that I got to go out of town, get up, feed the dog, walk the dog, bark at something? But man,
we had a South African Mastiff, a Borbal.
Oh, wow.
And so it was an insane guard dog. And I really just liked it. I mean, it would fucking just attack anything except the kids. And I just fucking loved it.
That's awesome.
And it never left the property. And, you know, it slept in the living room every night. So I knew that there's no fucking way anyone's coming into my room without getting a good warning.
That's a bad dog, man.
Yeah, it was cool. If I got another dog, but they only live like 6 or 7 years. But the other day, Greg said, "Hey, order yourself up another one. I'll get you another one."
Yeah.
No, Greg actually didn't buy that dog. I actually bought that
Oh,
dog.
okay. All right.
First one I bought, but I bought it because he had one.
He was like, "Yeah, Savon, it's been a month. I got underwear coming. I got a bike for you. And what dog are we getting?" Craig bought that dog too. Nice. He's on it.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sousa said to me, he's like, "Oh, tomorrow's podcast is gonna be so easy for you." I go, "Why do you say that?" He goes, "Darren is the best." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Dude, he'll just chop it up with you."
So I finally got to talk with Matt at the Classic, man. Awesome guy. Okay. I mean, I've always, known him like just from like behind the scenes stuff and just in passing. But dude, that guy knows everything as far as like in the detective space of CrossFit work. The things he was running by me, I was like, you're gonna have to slow down and talk. Like you have to write this out for me because I cannot keep up with what you know. Like I am still blown out of my mind by all the stuff like that he's telling me and he's running through me. I'm like, dude, just put it on Netflix so I can just watch it.
Detective Matt.
He is. Well, cool.
All right, brother. I'll have you back on and we can discuss The Chosen.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Darren Hunsucker. Thanks, brother.
All right, see you, man.
Ciao. There he is, guys. Mayhem superstar, expert in programming, making you soar every day if you train an affiliate. What is it, like 5,000 affiliates are on the Mayhem affiliate programming. Rich Froning's right-hand man. Oh, goody. Someone should listen, for anyone who wants to start a podcast up, that's the dude you picked to be on the show with you. That's the dude. That dude's pacing's insane. His chopping it up pacing, chatting pacing, cadence pacing. Him and he could replace Rich or Angelo if they had to take a potty break on a live feed. Holy shit. And he's good. I was wondering, I went back and looked at the last show we did together and it had like 9,000 views or something like that, 8,000 views. And I was like, oh, I wonder why that show was so popular. And then now that I've had him on, now I know why. Yeah, Darren's so good. Holy shit, he's good. Wow. Holy crap. From the pits of hell, the best. Wow. Energy. Yeah, it's the energy. I felt it lull, not on him, but between the two of us, like at the 2-hour mark. And then it came back up. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. I feel like there was something I wanted to say to you guys. Oh no, it's Barclay. I want to say something. I want to do CrossFit Games update show tonight. I want to have Barclay on the show. I don't think I've ever had Barclay on my channel. All right, what is today? Is today Friday or Thursday? Friday. Oh, 4 p.m. Today. If you have ESPN, make sure you go over to the ESPN app and watch the PFL fight. Dalton Rasta fights tonight. So that's at 4 p.m. Oh, I wonder if Caleb's around or Brett. I wonder if I could call. If I could. Actually, I'll call Caleb. I think Caleb knows how to do. Caleb Beaver. Where is Caleb? I thought Caleb was going to start being on a lot more when he moved out of Florida. I need to figure. Oh shit! I need to figure out what's going on with him. Oh, I have to pee again. Something I almost never do, because of this show, is I never drink water in the morning. I usually just drink 2 cups of coffee, like a pint and a half of coffee. But this morning, what vitamin did I take? Oh, this morning I took a little creatine to see if that would get me a little more pepped up this morning. And so I drank water. I stirred it in water. I wonder if that's why I have to pee. When I used to travel back and forth, I used to travel.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're.
I used to travel a lot as a kid. My dad and I would do road trips at least once a month, at least. And by road trips, I mean like at least a 7-hour drive somewhere. Los Angeles, Lake Tahoe, we traveled a lot. And it was funny, I remember this too. And I always, even as a kid, I had to pee a lot. We had to stop, I peed on the road on the side of the highway so many times as a kid. How many episodes of the Mayhem Classic behind the scenes are slated to be released? I think just 2. Creatine doesn't work that way. If you're talking to me, I didn't suggest it worked in any way. So I don't think you're talking to me. I don't know what you mean by creatine doesn't work that way. What way? I want to hang out with you guys a little bit. I feel like there's some shit that I want to go watch the kids practice jiu-jitsu. I feel like there's something, maybe I wrote it in my notes. There was something I saw that I was thinking about you guys. I wanted to share. Oh, don't forget yellow shirts vindicate. This isn't what I was going to talk about, but don't forget the get your vindicate shirt, VNDK8. It's the Syndicate crown. Get that shirt, show up to Syndicate, and that way we can take a huge group photo down on the field. I guess I'll send Caleb a note. Maybe I'll send it to the whole group. Can we get a sub clip from today's show and title it Rich Froning competing at the 2025 CrossFit Games? That's a good clickbait title, right? I asked Darren if Rich was going to do the game. Make the clip 7 to 13 minutes. Oh, Hiller's going to be so proud of me. Okay. Letitia James, we need to talk about that. AOC and Bernie Sanders flying around in a private jet. Women in the UK. Oh, that's what I wanted to say to you guys. Listen, I want to say congratulations to all the people of the United Kingdom, especially you, Jake Chapman. This is fucking incredible. Supreme Court rules trans women are not real women. Watch the electric response in packed courtroom of women as the UK Supreme Court delivers a landmark ruling defining women under the law as exclusively those born biologically female. Who would have fucking thought that the United Kingdom could do this?
The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex.
In a landmark decision, the UK Supreme Court has unanimously ruled that trans women are not legally recognized as women under the 2010 Equality Act.
Now, I'll still call you a woman if you want me to. Don't get me wrong. I'm cool. I'm cool as shit. Like, you want me to refer to you as a woman? I have no issue with that. You like, if Hiller wants me to call him the Batman, I'm totally cool with that. But, like, you can't go in the girl's bathroom and shit. You're not really a woman.
Act defining women strictly by biological sex. This precedent-setting judgment applies across Britain and is poised to shape future sex-based rights cases globally, including right here in Australia.
The central question on this appeal is the meaning of the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010. Do those terms refer to biological women or biological sex? Or is a woman to be interpreted as extending to a trans woman with a gender recognition certificate? By that I mean a person born male who now possesses a gender recognition certificate amending her gender to female, and sex to be interpreted as including what I will refer to as certificated sex. The unanimous decision of this court.
Hi.
Hi.
I have to pee.
You have to pee.
Yeah.
I'll take over.
You'll run the show for me?
Yeah.
How's your foot?
Good.
Take 2. How's your foot?
Good.
Take 3. How's your foot?
Amazing.
Yesterday.
We should take that plan out.
Oh yeah, we should take that plant out. Let's do that today. You want to describe the plant? Tell them what happened yesterday.
Yeah. I was playing. So we were playing basketball, and then my dad said, "Let's go inside," and then Joseph said, "Let's play football." So we played football for a little bit. My dad threw me this crazy ball.
Crazy pass, deep in the pocket, across the yard, perfect spiral.
And do I catch it?
I don't remember if you got it.
I don't think I catch it. But there's this plant with thorns that can go straight through your foot like a sword.
Yeah. I wish I knew what kind of cactus it was. I don't know why. I'm so against thorns in the yard too, right? You see me walking around with the shovel digging out anything with thorns, right?
Yeah.
And even our blueberry or blackberry plants, they're thornless blackberries.
And I almost stepped on it. But when I was little,
that would have impaled your foot.
Yeah.
That would have gone straight through the bottom of your foot out the top. That
Yeah.
thing is so crazy.
When I was little, I sat right next to that plant and buried it with dirt.
Yeah, I remember when you were a little kid. Yeah, you took a dump truck over, and it was like I bought that plant for like $100.
And the plant was completely gone. It was just a hill of dirt.
Yeah, I yelled at you for that. That was probably the loudest I've ever yelled at you
And
up until that point of your life. You were like 4, and I yelled
remember
at you.
I broke the TV?
Yeah, I didn't yell at you then. Then I almost killed you, but your mom saved your life. But I didn't raise my voice.
But then you got pissed at me, and there's still dirt in there. But
Yeah,
you should just take it out.
Yeah, we have to take it out. I'm going to get a shovel. I'm going to dig that thing out today. If you step on it, it's fucked. Your that'll be so bad. That will cripple someone. You know what's funny is I almost stepped on it a couple months ago barefoot. I do not know why I put that there. I just thought it would be cool. That was a very bad move. You know that we planted this plant at the Berkeley house, this beautiful plant. It's called not a trumpet vine, but like a trumpet plant.
Aren't those dangerous?
Yeah, they're poisonous.
Yeah.
It's super toxic. It's this tree that makes these huge, big flowers that look like bells that hang. And
Yeah.
And
I
I
know what
remember
you're
I spent a
talking about.
fortune to have that thing planted, and then someone walked by and goes, "That plant is the most toxic plant." Blah blah blah. I'm like, take it out. We put a plum tree in there. We replaced it with a plum tree.
Yeah, that sucks. You waste all your money on a plant and then you take it out.
Anything for you, buddy.
And then also, there's a tree that if sap goes on you or you've touched a tree, it'll kill you. It's poisonous. There's some trees like that. Have you heard of them?
No, I was barely listening because I was texting a friend. I was being a
There's
parent
a
that wasn't
tree.
where the sap can kill you.
Yeah, where if the sap lands on you, where you touch the tree.
I know that
It
there's a
could
frog
kill
that
you.
if you touch its back, you'll think you can fly and you saw God.
Cool.
I'm not making that up. There is a frog. If you touch his back, you think you saw God.
Really?
Hmm. I don't know what kind of frog it is.
The God frog?
They should call it that. If not,
Who gave you this gun?
Bear from Born Primitive, Bear Hanlon.
Do cops listen to your show? You know?
Yeah, I think that there's probably some police officers who listen to the show.
Cool.
Yeah. Would you ever want to be a police officer?
Oh, I heard you have to go through all this stuff. Like, I don't know if I'm right. But I heard like some people have to pass the test. You have to spray like peppermint in your eye and get tased by the taser gun
Yeah,
a couple times.
I heard
to
that
see
too.
how you react.
Yeah.
I think Alex told me that.
Would you want to try that?
I don't know. Depends if I'm a weakling or a beast when I'm older.
Hey, so yesterday you woke up, you had an injured ankle, and you woke up and I said, "How's your ankle?"
Yeah.
What did you say to me?
I don't know.
I'll remind you. You said it's fine.
I didn't say it's fine. I said it's good.
And then I said, "Hey, don't pull on that." And then I said, I don't think you should do gymnastics. And you're like, "No, I'm good. Don't touch that.
Just stand. There we go.
Don't touch that." And so we went to gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
Is this story accurate so far? Feel free to interject if I get any of the details wrong.
No, you're good.
And we get to gymnastics and it's a 90-minute class, intensive class,
Mm-hmm.
private. And I look over and you're sitting down on one of the balance beams with a pack of ice on your ankle. I cruise over to you. I'm like, "Hey, buddy."
No, you got it wrong. A very cold pack of ice.
Very
Uh-huh.
cold pack of ice. I cruise over to you. I'm like, "Hey, buddy." You're like, "Hey." Like, "What's up?" You're like, "Foot hurts. My ankle hurts." And then I said, "I thought you said it was good." You're like, "Yeah, it wasn't good."
I just wanted to go to gymnastics so I can do my backflips because I knew you wouldn't let me do them at the trampoline. So I tricked you thinking my foot was fine.
Yeah. And then I just got out the belt and started spanking you, right?
Yeah.
But did you think I was gonna be mad at you?
But you know what did happen? Your pants fell down when you took the belt.
When I took the belt off, my pants fell down. You started laughing. Did you think I was gonna get mad at you?
No, I thought you were just gonna get a little disappointed. I mean, I was hurting from when I woke up.
You thought you were just gonna work
And
through
there's a
it?
crazy red mark on my ankle right now.
I know. You know what's crazy? I saw that yesterday, and I kept telling myself that just must be from the ice, but that's not from the ice. That's just some sort of red mark. Did it hurt? Does it feel better? A little bit better today?
Yeah, but I don't think it's fully better. I think if
No, you're not doing shit for 2 weeks, dude.
it's like 2 weeks.
At least 2 weeks, dude.
Nah.
Dude, listen. Yesterday I was cool. I was like, "All right, that's cool. I get it. It's my job to make sure that you're 100%. We got to get you 100%. You're a beast when you're 100%. I don't even think I was planning on doing some squatting with you today, and I'm like, God, I don't even want you putting pressure on that. I don't even
Good.
want you.
Back to editing.
I don't even want you holding weights. 2 weeks is nothing. Yeah.
2 weeks is everything.
You two have the same smile. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Gary Roberts one time told me I have the worst smile he's ever seen.
Gary Roberts, you're officially not my friend.
Gary Rabbits.
Robert.
All right. Are the boys in there drilling?
Yeah, they're taking it easy because the tournament's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna take me to get my hair cut right after.
Oh, right now?
After jiu-jitsu.
Oh, who told you that?
Mom did.
I told you you're not getting a haircut for like a year. I want to see your hair grow long again so you can have a man bun.
Well, sucks to be you. I'm getting a mullet. I was talking to Jackson just now,
Yeah.
and he says, "Just get a mullet." And I was like, "I don't know what that is." And he goes, "You'll see. Just get it."
You want me to show you?
Yeah.
Show you a mullet.
I mean, I know what I've heard of a mullet. I just forget what it looks like. I think Nico had a mullet.
Yeah. There's kind of like different levels of mullet. Justin Medeiros had a mullet, kind of a mullet.
Justin Medeiros. I like Justin Medeiros' hair. It was cool.
You did like it? Look at these. These are mullets. See, like this is, it's like short in the front. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that guy does have green hair. Look at this girl. I think that's a girl has a mullet. She's the mullet champion. It says USA Mullet Championship. How about this mullet? This is a classic mullet. This is like what Austin Hatfield would have. Modern mullet. Oh, that's a modern mullet. That says modern mullet. How does Jackson know hairstyles?
You think I would look good with a mullet?
Yeah, you look good no matter what. Hey, do you think that if we took turns doing pull-ups and it's whoever gets to 100 first, you can do as big a sets or smallest sets as you wanted, who do you think would get to 100 first?
Me.
Yeah, we should do that today.
You know what?
What?
I'm really disappointed that I need to go find what I want to edit something.
Okay, let's
Like
film
you bought
something.
me this $3,000 computer, and I'm just texting on it now, and I have no use for it.
Who are you texting?
My cousin.
Oh. Okay, let's do it. Oh wow, look at this. Look at this hair. Look at this hair.
Where? Someone just sent that.
No, it just popped up on my phone. What do you think about that?
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Did you actually look like that?
Yeah, you knew me when I looked like that.
Is that my dad?
Look at it's me.
That's my dad. He looks like the Grim Reaper. I'm glad I shaved that off of you. That's 2 pounds less weight. So now you don't look fat.
Thanks. You think I look fat in that photo?
No.
Oh.
Your face looks like it's That's how long my hair was when your beard was that long.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Am I supposed to get off?
No, I'm getting off. Hey, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Congratulations to the United Kingdom and for just having a little bit of common sense.
There's Kill Taylor tomorrow.
There's Kill Taylor. Oh, thank you. There's Kill Taylor tomorrow. Please don't do that to the microphone. There's Kill Taylor tomorrow. And what else do we have? And tonight, hopefully, we'll do a CrossFit Games update show. And then don't forget to watch Dalton Rosta today at 4 p.m. fight. I'll be taking you to swimming. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
No, you're not.